G'day guys, how are we going? Welcome to the live watch along. Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. Now, firstly, forgive me the surroundings I'm in. I'm in a different office today. I'm not sure if it's going to be a little bit echoey. I apologise if it is. I've just had to quickly rearrange things because we've just built a new office onto our house. As I said, I wasn't planning to use it. I had a little studio set up, but the streaming, because it's a streaming service, had to get it in the best place in the house. It just happened to be in the new office, not upstairs. So again, forgive me if I'm a little bit echoey. I'll do my best. Welcome to everyone. Already we've got Ian Davenport in the chat. How you going there? And woohoo to you too, mate. Always great to have you along. So the way this works, guys. Well, first of all, I hope you had a good weekend. I've had a great weekend. The Mighty Blues, with a season best win yesterday over the GWS Giants. They were 3 or 4 goals down in the third quarter and ended up winning by about that. So good weekend. But so the way this works, we'll watch. Got the fights on beside me here. I can't obviously put the vision on or any sound or anything like that. But if you were watching at home, which I'm assuming a lot of you guys and girls are, then make sure you put a comment in there. And look, as we lead up to the main event, don't just be too focused on Haney Garcia. Let me know what your thoughts are on any other boxing subject. And, there's one already, the prediction from the King. Look, I think Devin Haney wins King, I'll call you. I think, look, I'm expecting some real fireworks straight off the bat from Ryan Garcia. I think his whole demeanour and behaviour in the lead up to this fight has, look, let's face it, has been very, very peculiar. I'll spit that out. But look, I think I said in my Instagram post yesterday that let's not get too focused on the Ryan Garcia that we've seen in the lead up. We know he's a little bit loose at the moment. We know he's got some issues. I still don't think it takes away from the fact the guy can fight. Can he fight as good as Devin Haney? No, he can't. So what I'm expecting is Garcia to come out extremely fast, throwing bombs. I think Haney's smart enough to weather the storm. I think he'll box smart. I know there's been discussions about meeting in center ring and let's get it on and all this sort of stuff. And I get that. But class, well, this is obviously one of the biggest fights of the year, and class rises to the top. Devin Haney's not stupid. He's been through a lot of these fights before. So I think what will happen is he'll box smart for 2 or 3 rounds. Ryan Garcia will really put the pace on early. And I've just got a feeling after 3, 4, maybe even 5 rounds that the sting will go out of Garcia. Haney will pick it up. I still think Haney still might win some of the early rounds because I just got a feeling Garcia will just be throwing everything wildly. Haney will be picking him off. Then I expect once the sting has gone out of the fight, I think Devin Haney picks it up. And there has been some discussions that maybe Ryan Garcia, once he's shot his best at Devin Haney and maybe can't get him out of there, then he might find a way out. I hope that's not the case. And you would expect a elite pro like Ryan Garcia, regardless of the behaviour, to at least put in an effort. I know we've got the Gervonta Davis fight to sort of look back on too. That's probably a little bit different. I wouldn't say he quit, but I would say that he was like, yeah, I think I've had enough. So I think Devin Haney picks it up in the late rounds, and I'm going to go by decision, King, but I wouldn't be surprised, as I said, if Haney maybe stops him late. But either way, look, I think we're in for an explosive fight. I really do. And there's Sean Porter on there at the moment with Clarissa Shields doing the interview on DAZN. So let me know if you are watching there, guys. Put your comments, as I said, in there again. We'll discuss all sorts of things in the lead up to it. We've got Barboza next, and that I'm hoping, and then we should be into the main event after that. But let me know. Even on the weekend, I did see the Tszyu situation as well. Looks like, and I'm hoping it doesn't fall against Tim, but it looks like that not Fundora, Crawford and Madrimov will fight for not only the WBA belt, but also the vacant WBO belt, which obviously belongs to Fundora. So I haven't really seen everything become official yet, but numerous news sites are reporting that obviously the WBO will strip Fundora, one, because he probably can't defend until the end of the year. Not that that should be a given anyway, because you shouldn't be penalised for being suspended. But I would say maybe they've given an indication that it is going to be Tim or maybe someone else with the last name Spence. Who knows? But it looks like Madrimov and Crawford will fight. Apparently, there's going to be an announcement this week, so we'll keep an eye on that. And then what happens after that? Does Fundora do the right thing and fight Tszyu at the end of the year for the WBC belt? Or does he maybe go down the PBC route with Errol Spence for the vacant WBC title? And I would really hope that's not the case, because then what would probably happen after that is that the two winners would most likely fight, and then Tim could be frozen out for 18 months. And I would hate for that to happen. Let's just hope that the right thing happens, and it is Fundora and Tim at the end of the year for that WBC belt. But I'm not going to hold my breath, because this industry, it just has a habit of kicking good fighters and good people in the arse. So, all right, we've got another comment there from the King. What do you got there, mate? Probably come out going crazy like Tszyu versus George. Well, maybe. I think it might be a little bit worse than that, mate. I think Tszyu did come out. He was aggressive. I'm probably looking at Ryan Garcia being almost Peter McNeely type against Mike Tyson, if you ask me. I think he could come out really swinging from the fences. And as I said, Devin Haney, he's a seasoned pro. He knows what it's about. I think he will be expecting that from Ryan Garcia. I think he'll be prepared. I think he'll box smart. And, as I said, pick it up in the later rounds. There's Colin Spring. How you going, Colin? Good afternoon, all. It's been quite a draining lead up to the fight. In some cases, hasn't shown the best of how to promote the sport. Win or lose, Garcia's branding must have suffered. It's a good point, Colin. However, if Ryan Garcia wins this fight, I have a very strong suspicion all will be forgiven, mate. I would think that all of a sudden, Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, even maybe, definitely the likes of Matthias, will all be suddenly, hey, let's maybe even Javante Davis might all of a sudden pop his head up as well. It's just, look, I know he won't be the champion, but I would think that, as I said, all will be forgiven, mate, and he'll be one of the hottest properties in the sport. So, but you are right. It has been extremely draining, mate. It's been tough, and it's one of those fights where, and it shouldn't be like that, where it's almost like, let's just get this one over with. I'm sick of, we're just sick of the whole lead up, sick of the antics. And I did say on here and on Talking Boxing and a couple other things I've done that the shame of it all is you look at the documentary that has been done for the lead up for this fight. Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney have been the ultimate professionals around the young kids, around fans. Just been really, really professional. But then as soon as you get them together, it's like they just lose all sense of what's right, I suppose. I mean, it's embarrassing. And I think they would look back and be embarrassed about how they've acted. And I think Devin Haney's dad would be as well. And even Bernard Hopkins. I mean, why do they have to get into it on the stage? I mean, and as I said on my Instagram yesterday, why do the promoters, or more importantly, the control boards, have a fast and steady rule that says, okay, there's no more than 5 people, 6 people, including the fighter, on the stage at one time, and that is it. And I know the promoters want to get in the back and get their heads on TV and hold the belt up and, all the rest of it, just pretend they're not being watching, they don't pretend they don't want to be on TV, but all the while they're looking at the screen, making sure they are on TV. Look, I understand that, but I think, let's say for the fighters, if you had the fighter themselves, the trainer, the manager, promoter, what it be, the advisor, whatever, but no more than 6 fighters in total from each team, and just separate these guys. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, yesterday could have been really, really dangerous, and some of the dipshits they get in the entourages, who knows? They could be packing. Who knows? You just don't know. And in years gone by, you would laugh at that, but this is a different world we live in these days. So let's hope they look back and be a little bit embarrassed by this, mate. All right, we'll get to a few more comments. And what do we got there? Jack, how you going, Jack? Can't believe Timmy's going to get frozen out again. Does he look to move around divisions, do you think? I don't think so, mate. I think, look, you never know. I think he'll want to hang tough in the 154-pound division. Things can happen really, really quickly. And you'll even just look at Madrimov. And especially Fundora, how quickly that changed. But with Madrimov, looked really impressive winning that WBA belt, and all of a sudden, with all the dominoes falling in different directions, he's ended up with the Terence Crawford fight. Fundora didn't get it. Tszyu didn't get it. Spence hasn't got it. No one's got the Crawford fight. And Madrimov's pretty much fallen into it, hasn't he? Just by almost like a Stephen Bradbury type of effect, hasn't he? Just the last man standing. So it's amazing how quick he can turn around. And who knows? There could be an injury. There could be anything if it does happen with Tszyu I'm talking about. And then all of a sudden he gets thrown in. All he needs is the opportunity. I think we all know that all he needs is an opportunity to get either Fundora or any of these guys in the ring. And I think he will make amends for what happened in Las Vegas. But yeah, I would hate to see it, mate, but this is a ruthless, ruthless sport. So, and they don't give a shit about Tim. It's only about what happens in-house, unfortunately. So, Colin says, hope it doesn't end up like McCall versus Lewis 2. Can't help feeling it will not end normally. Well, mate, that's probably my fear as well. Do we get the riot in the ring, a la Floyd Mayweather and who was it? Zab Judah. Do we get an event like the Fan Man with who was that? Bo and Holyfield? I mean, I'm with you, mate. I've just got a feeling something untoward might. Hey, who knows? He might get in there and the bell rings and he just hops out the ring and says, "Gotcha," and gets out. Who knows? This is the thing about it. And that's why I think the pay-per-views will be very, very good on this event. It's almost like, what do they say, watching a train wreck as Bektamir Melikuzov hits the ring. Now, that's obviously not... Is that the co-main? I didn't see who was in the ring as well. I will do my best to dib on. All right, so we've got another... Looks like we've got another 12 rounder before we get into the other fights, guys. So it might be a bit of a long day. So I understand if you want to go and do something else for a little while. But I'll be here talking boxing. So as I said, it doesn't have to be today's fight. We can talk about anything. It'll be an extended version, of course. We could be here for 2 or 3 hours. But anyway... but as far as ending up like McCall Lewis too, mate, anything's possible. And I'm with you there. Anything could happen, and you do get the feeling it could end abnormally. What's that? Financially fearless. Forge your future. That's a really detailed name you got there, mate. Garcia only has upside if he wins. 100%, mate. As I said, you're only as good as your last fight. And if he wins today, then... he'll be one of the hottest fighters in the sport. That's just a given. So, yeah, it's amazing how quick it turns around. All right, Jack. Can sort of appreciate that Garcia has literally gone all or nothing for this fight. He really has to win now after all this. It's an interesting one, Jack. Does he? I mean, I would still think... there's going to be fighters out there that are going to want to fight Ryan Garcia, even if he gets beaten badly in this fight. He's just that type of guy. He's a draw card. Whether or not the promoters might want to touch him if he doesn't measure up in this fight. Look, I think if he gives his all in this fight, puts in a good performance and loses, I think, again, all will sort of be forgotten unless he continues to carry on like this. I've just got a feeling in this one, these guys have obviously got a long history. They go back. They've had 6 amateur fights against each other, 3 each. There's some beef there. So I just get the feeling in this one especially, he's taken it personally, but just obviously just tipped over the edge just a tad. Or maybe more than just a tad, but you know what I'm saying. But he's only 25 years old, mate. So if he can get himself together, and especially if he wins his fight, again, as I said, he'll be the hottest property in the sport. But at 25 years of age, he can rebuild. Just a matter of whether he wants to, I suppose. There's old mate, a Big J. What do we got there? Do you hear that clock ticking? That's time running out for the chump. John McAllister, I'm assuming you're referring to there. 3 weeks until I give him the beating of a lifetime. He best gets his affairs in order. He's all for a face-off. Let's do it, mate. Well, I'll be there. Camera in hand. So if you want to do it on my channel or the No Limit channel or whatever you want to do it on your own channels, whatever. Let's see it. I want to see you face to face. Let's see if we get a fight out of it. All right. There's the Forge Your Future. Fundora's promoter in the media continues to say Tim is getting the rematch. Either way, they have to heal up. Well, this is the thing, as I said, mate, is that the one person that's come out of it better than anyone is Madrimov. And the one person that's lost the most is Crawford, because all of a sudden, the Spence fight didn't happen, or not yet anyway. The Charlo fight didn't happen. Canelo doesn't really want to fight at the moment. And then you've got this instance with Tim and Fundora with everything that's happened there. So, yeah, but look, they can say whatever they want in the media all they want, can't they? And look, I have met Samson Lukovic before. I think that's how you pronounce it. And he looks like a real, genuine type of guy. However, if they say, all right, well, we're going to give you Spence for 10 million, or we're going to give you Tim for 3 million or 4 million, which one are you going to take? I think everything goes off the table really quick. Let's face it, these guys aren't in it for forever. They've got to shore themselves up financially. So, look, being an Australian, of course, I'm 100% focused on Tim getting the rematch with Fundora. But if Fundora chooses Spence or even someone else, I wouldn't begrudge him. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't like it, but that's the sport we're in, and it's about getting the maximum payday, especially at that level. He's got the belts now. You just take the biggest paydays. A little bit like our man Jason Maloney. Could have fought on the Kambosos Haney card. It would have been, Kambosos Lomachenko card. It would have been great to fight in front of, I won't say his hometown. He's from this side of the country, but in Perth, in front of his countrymen, getting an advantage, all that sort of stuff. At the end of the day, if he's getting paid 3 times more in Japan, well, why wouldn't he go? 33 years old now, I'd be going as well. Take the biggest fights at the right time at whatever stage of your career is at, and Fundora's in that stage now. He's worked very hard to get the championship, even though we understand the circumstances. So, hey, take the money while it's there, I think. However, I'm praying that, they honour their word, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. And again, I wouldn't begrudge them if they didn't either. There's Trevor Taylor. How you going there, mate? Looking forward to the card. Agreed totally. Should be a set number on stage to avoid what happened yesterday. And look, it's not the first time, Trevor. I mean, we even go back to, 2002 when Tyson and Lewis fought. And even though that was just a press conference, you remember that Tyson charged Lewis. Now, maybe that might have happened, whether there was 6 people each or 20 people each. Tyson was obviously, it was premeditated that he was going to do that. But that's the end of the, is that the first round of that fight as well? I'll try and keep you updated there, guys. I'm sure you guys are watching it anyway. But in this day and age, especially when it's a little bit different when you don't know what's going to happen. I think yesterday we 100% knew what was going to happen, especially, what happened at the Empire State Building. And we all know that the New York Mets refused to allow the boys to throw the first pitch or whatever they do over there. So, yeah, it was always going to happen. So it would have been a classic case of saying to the guys, all right, well, we will either separate you guys and have you weigh in separately at different times, whatever it might be. Of course, it was only a ceremonial weigh-in. It would have been interesting to see what happened at the actual weigh-in. Now, if you're not familiar with it, by the way, in these big fights, the big one you see on TV is just a ceremonial weigh-in. It's just for the media and the fans. They actually weigh in about 3 or 4 hours earlier in probably a little hotel room at one of the casinos or wherever it might be. So it would have been interesting to be a fly on the wall when Ryan Garcia didn't make weight what Team Haney would have said. I'm sure there would have been some words said. And then, of course, the 1.5 million. I did see that Devin Haney said it had been paid. Dan Raphael has since said it was all, that's not true. It was just for publicity, whatever it might have been. I'm not sure. I've got a feeling he would have paid. I think Ryan Garcia would have said, here, take it. And then I've got a feeling, I don't know for sure, I'm sure it'll come out, that there could have been maybe even up to maybe another $500,000 or even possibly more for not making the weight. So he could have sacrificed $2.5 million in total by not making weight. But when he's probably making, I don't know, 15 or 20, maybe in his mind it doesn't really matter. But anyway. Big J, Haney going to wipe out Garcia. Well, we'll see, mate. I think it's going to be entertaining while it lasts anyway. I just don't see him wiping out Garcia, Big J. Look, I think if he was being smart, he would box him the way he normally boxes, on the back foot, throwing good combinations, clinching, holding, moving, all that sort of stuff. The interesting thing is going to be is if he decides to actually stand and fight with Garcia. Because remember, Garcia can punch. He's got that whipping left hook that comes sort of out of nowhere. He throws it very unorthodox-like. Does he land it? I don't think so, but anything's possible. And if Haney stands toe-to-toe with Garcia, than we've seen Garcia wipe out guys before. I just got a feeling he's too much of a professional, and all the bravado and all the talk aside, he'll do what it takes to win the fight, and that's, in my opinion, boxing smart early and then picking up as the pace or as the fight goes on. Stephanie Villa, how you going there, Stephanie? Man, I'm going for Haney. Well, let me know who you're all going for, guys. My wife Tara, she is, as they say overseas, rooting for Ryan Garcia. She's a bit of a fan of it, like probably a lot of women are, aren't they? So, Sammy T, I predict Devin Haney cruises to a clear, unanimous decision win. I like Haney, very polished boxer with some great skills. I just can't stand his dad. Reminds me of Fury's dad. Gets involved way too much. I definitely second the last part there, Sammy. Way too much influence on his son. He's not the only one, by the way. We've seen Teofimo Lopez's dad. We've seen Robert Guerrero's dad. We've seen Danny Garcia's dad. Obviously, Tyson Fury's dad. And we've got a bad cut there on, is that how you pronounce it? The Bomb? I can't put the volume up here. Cool name of it is, The Bomb. But it's only round 2 of 10. And, yeah, he's got a pretty bad cut over that right eye. So if you're not watching it, we'll keep you up to date there. But, yeah, it doesn't look good, although he's come out firing this one. Yeah, look, I tend to agree with you, Sammy, that he does cruise to a win. But, look, let's see. Let's wait and see. I think he does win by unanimous decision, unless Fan Man comes into the ring and we have a no contest or whatever. Who knows? But that's why we all watch his sport, don't we? Jackie, old mate's going to have a fair corner, I'd imagine. Lyndon, both you and Roddy in there. Well, I'm going to be neutral here, BJ. As you know, I did have dinner with Jai over in Las Vegas, and he's a nice guy. He's doing good things. Did have a rough time in Las Vegas, old Jai, but yeah, no, I'll be neutral. I'll be the one. How about I'm the one in the middle that holds up an imaginary belt and pretends that I don't want to be on TV, but in the meantime, I'm just making sure that I am on TV. I'll be one of those guys. Well, that's the other thing, guys. Here's another thing for the Wayne and everything. Do we really need the promoter in the middle? All we tend to focus on is the promoter. I know it's tradition, and I know they get in there with the belts and that sort of stuff, but in this day and age, we seem to be breaking all sorts of traditions. So why can't we tell the promoter, hey, you're in the press conference, you're in all the media, you're all over the shop, just for that last face-off, can we just have the two fighters face off against each other? We all know Oscar and Eddie and all them sort of guys. I don't think Bob Arum does it, or very rarely anyway. Anyway, I know it's a bit of an ego thing, but I don't know. Do we really need to see it? All right, I'll just have a coffee there. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well, guys. I always get in trouble for not saying that. So, what is there, 20 odd sort of watching it now? Just hit the like button, can you? All right. There's Colin's prediction. Haney well ahead on points coming to late stages of the fight before drama strikes. Yeah, that's not a bad prediction there, Colin. Look, it could happen. Who knows? Haney, look, Ryan has been premeditated in everything that he's done so far, hasn't he? So maybe, does he have a plan that if he's well behind and can't win, I don't know, does he drop his pants and moon the crowd or something? Who knows? Does he hit Haney low? Does he hit him after the bell? Does his corner start a riot? Actually, I don't think his corner will start a riot because Derek James is a very professional coach who I don't think will be with Ryan Garcia after this fight, by the way. Some of his facial expressions after Ryan talks has been pretty comical, hasn't it? I'd like some close-ups of Derek James. And when he's training as well, he's just sitting there shaking his head. So I think Derek James, probably like a Freddie Roach, no-nonsense type of coach. I would suggest that maybe after this one, Ryan's looking for a new trainer. So in round number 3, by the way, here, guys, and it looks like obviously the fight is still going on. But Meli Kuzev is picking up the pace. He's a tough guy. He's the bully. And the Bomb just trying to do his best through that cut eye at the moment. So we'll keep you up to date with that. For that drama, Colin, we'll keep a lookout for it, eh? All right, there's Forge Your Future again. Fundora and Tim rematch regardless of the money, especially if the second fight ends up in a big-time firefight. You potentially get a trilogy fight on down the road worth a lot of money. I do agree somewhat there, mate. But look, end of the day, it is regardless of money. That's what it's about. And while us Aussies over here, and even some fight fans in the States, would love to see the second fight, maybe even a third fight. Fundora and PBC, and they don't care about trilogies or the money. All they worry about is the money and the biggest fight. So while it's a big deal for us over here, mate, I really don't think it's big over there. And let's face it, if that fight had been a no contest and Tim kept his belts, I don't think they would have given Fundora a rematch. Remember, he was a late replacement. So he came in late, and it would have been, sorry, mate, that's a bit stiff. Apologies. You had your shot. We've got to move on now. We're going to fight Crawford or someone else. So they didn't really care. And maybe Team Fundora knew that, and remember that Tim called Samson Lukowicz a weasel, which did not go down well. So, yeah, look, it does sort of, I agree with what you're saying there, mate, but I don't think, again, Fundora's team and PBC and everyone else give a shit about a second, third, fourth, fifth fight. They really don't. I'll just get that cut. Yeah, that cut looks bad. Yeah. Well, they're working on it, as we see downtown Las Vegas. I'm not sure why because they're promoting Canelo Munguia. May the 4th. What do we think about that, guys? Just hang on one sec while I close the door. Close the door there, bud. All right, I'm back. I just left the door open. Sorry. Yeah, it does look bad there, mate. So, yeah, Canelo Munguia, we're buying that fight. I think it's a great fight. I'm really looking forward to it. I know we want Benavidez, but Munguia for me is the second best fight he could have. So I've got no issues with it whatsoever. Anyway, we'll move on. I don't see Garcia getting crushed, but Haney could easily cruise to a 12-round win. Yep, that's probably my prediction there too, mate. That's probably the way I see it, unless we get that dramatic ending that a couple of you guys have suggested. All right. I recently saw pictures of Fury. Do you think he's taking his training seriously? He seemed slimmed down to me. I think he's taking it very seriously there, mate. As we're into round 4, by the way. And DeBom looks like he's, or DeBom, or whatever. Again, I can't turn it up to hear his name pronounced right. But doing okay. Just quick stats there. Through round 3, and Kuzev has landed 35% of his power punches compared to DeBom, who's only landed 25 and seems to be doing well at the moment. So as for Fury, mate, look, I think he's going to take the fight very, very seriously. I think with all, regardless of the antics and everything that's sort of gone, although we haven't really seen a lot so far, have we? What is it? It's May the 18th is the fight as this one starts to heat up a bit. So what is it today? It's the 21st of April here in Australia. So it's at 4 weeks away. So, yeah, it's 4 weeks away. And we haven't really seen a lot of promotion or anything for it. I know it'll probably heat up. I know we've got to get through this one, and then we've got to get through Canelo and Munguia. And probably for that last 2 weeks, it'll really hype up as far as the pay-per-view aspect goes. But hasn't really been a lot said. And to be honest with you, mate, I haven't seen a lot of Tyson Fury at all in the, or Usyk for that matter, in the lead up as far as the pictures go. The ones I have seen, yeah, I agree, he has looked in really good shape. And I think deep down he knows this is a very, very tough fight. And I think we'll get the best Tyson Fury we can imagine. And how do you see that? I'm still of the opinion that Usyk wins the fight. I think he'll be too fast on his feet, too fast with his hands, throw too many punches. And I just don't think he's going to stand there and let Tyson Fury lean on him and hold him and really drain him of his strength and energy by being on top of him. So, but on the other hand, I wouldn't be surprised if Tyson Fury wins either. I don't care who wins, by the way. I've just got a feeling that Usyk will just be a little bit too slick. The only logical reason I see having the promoter there at the final face-off is to separate the fighters if they become physical, a bit like what Dana White does in the UFC. The problem is, though, Sammy, it's a bit of a token gesture. I saw Oscar yesterday sort of put his arm in, but that's what security's there for. But yeah, no, you're right. I suppose to have the promoter there wouldn't be any good if Bob Arum was standing there, by the way, because there's not much he's going to be able to do. But yeah, look, it's not a bad thing, but I don't know. Maybe another thing is that the controlling bodies or whatever it might be, or even promoters, have to have it written in the contract that you have to have a level of behaviour. As they say, bringing the sport or broadcaster or the promoter into disrepute, that's what can happen. Now, I understand things get heated, and I'm not saying it's never going to happen and never should happen. I'm just saying is that when you know it's going to happen, just play the percentages. We all sort of see in the lead up whether it's going to get a bit volatile at the final weigh-in or even the press conference. So it's just being prepared. I actually have seen, especially press conferences where they don't have the fighters face off. Well, I don't think actually they did it with these guys the other day either at the press conference. So it's just being smart. So he's got a couple of cuts there, I think, has the bomb, especially on that right eye. Yeah, that's a bad cut right over the eye. But it looks like they've got a bit of a handle on it at the moment. So we'll see what it's like as the fight goes on. But yeah, I see your point there, Sammy. My feeling on it is you have to have a tiebreaker if the second fight is really good. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, no, I get it, mate. I get it. But we've got to get that second fight first. I mean, let's face it. I mean, if Crawford's now fighting Madramev and Spence gets the fight at Fundora and maybe beats Fundora, well, that fight goes out the window. I know then Tim comes into the picture, or maybe it's a Crawford rematch. Just so many things in there. Look, I think if it all adds up to everyone concerned, mate, I think that's what will happen, and there would be a tiebreaker. Although, someone hit the deck there. The bomb hits the deck in the 5th round. I wasn't quite sure that was actually a knockdown, but it's been ruled a knockdown, and that might be costly in this fight. Yeah, no, I get it, mate. Look, but I think considering the circumstances of the first fight, mate, with the cut eye, I think if Tim wins conclusively, I think that would be it. Fundora would probably want a rematch, but then it would be Tim's turn to say yay or nay. So yeah, look, let's just hope that Tim's in the mix. That's probably all I'm worried about at the moment. All right, Double G, what do we got there, mate? What do you think with all the talk at 154 lately being Crawford, Madrimov, and now Charlo? Yes, we didn't mention that now he's throwing his hat in the ring. Feels like Tim is becoming the forgotten man. Yeah, well, that's the fear, Double G, as the doctor inspects. Oh, now Mela Kusev has got, that's a really bad cut. And no, we're going to fight on. Wow, so both boys cut really badly at the moment. So I've got a feeling we might see a couple of rounds of fireworks here. So it is the 5th round, so we will get a decision because I'm pretty sure we ruled it a headbutt. So, but I think Malikuzev's cut is actually worse than the bombs at the moment, or the bone. Good fight so far, though. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Double G. Yeah, Charlo, look, whether or not he makes it to the starting line's another thing, but he has put it out there that I think initially from what I saw, and I think someone might have sent it to me on social media, is that initially Crawford Madrimov was suggested as the bomb gets thrown to the canvas. And then Charlo then announced that he wanted to fight or enact his right as a WBA champion in recess, which might have thrown a spanner in the works. But then he's now said he's got no issue with Crawford Madrimov first, and then he will fight the winner after that. But you're right. Then all of a sudden, you got Crawford, Madrimov, and Charlo on one side, and then you've got Fundora and Spence on the other side. And then who's to say all those guys all then fight off against each other, and all of a sudden Tim, like you said there, is the forgotten man. It's just crazy and unthinkable to think that just that one decision of not ending the fight after the 4th round would have meant Tim come back to Australia with those belts, or worst case, that the judge, just that one card the other way and he had a one. Look, either way, it's just staggering how all of a sudden that, you're right, Tim has just been frozen out. Look, let's just hope it all works itself out and Tim gets his shot later in the year. But with all this other talk going on at the moment, it's definitely worrying for sure. Stephanie, I'm just waiting for May 4th for the Canelo fight. Yeah, look, Stephanie, as I said, I can't wait for the fight. I think it's a great fight. I think that there's going to be fireworks in that one. I think Canelo's going to have his hands full in patches of that fight. I think Munguia, he's young, he's strong, he's hungry. He's not going to respect Canelo to the point like a lot of his recent opponents have, where they're so reactive. They're just waiting to see what Canelo is going to do. They're reactive to what he's doing. I think Munguia will be proactive. And that's a little bit like Bivol was with Canelo, which is why he won the fight, because he fought the fight at his pace. And when Canelo was trying to rest, he would then pick up the pace. Where other opponents I've seen, when Canelo's trying to rest, and he does gas sometimes in fights, that they will let him rest. I've got a feeling Munguia won't allow that, as we have another doctor inspection of the cut, and it looks like we're going ahead. But it's a bad cut. So that's Malikusev is badly cut over that left eye, and DeBomb is cut badly over the right eye. But yeah, I'm with you there, Stephanie. I think it's going to be a great fight. What do we got there? My only wish for this fight is that Alexander Usyk wasn't 37 and in his prime, just what this fight could be. Yeah, look, it's probably like a lot of fights, isn't it? Especially, I mean, you look to recent history with Mayweather and Pacquiao, how good that fight would have been 5, 6, 7 years earlier. I think the result would have been exactly the same. To be honest, I think Mayweather beats him in any era, just against styles. And Mayweather just had that, that ability and I suppose talent to make, that's a slip there, to make some of the best fighters in history look very, very ordinary. So we're in round number 6 here. Malikusev and DeBomb. With a minute to go in round number 6. So we'll see what transpires in this one. Saw on social media, Chris Eubank Jr. wants to fight Michael Zarafa. Considering Zarafa has another fight left on the prime contract, how do you see that potential fight going? I see Chris Eubank having a pretty easy night at the office, Sammy. I don't like to say that against Australian fighters, but I think we've seen when Michael stepped up to the level that he has really struggled. And obviously, we saw the last fight with Lara. Lara's an exception. Lara's a lot better fighter than what Eubank Jr. is. But if that is the case and it has been offered to Michael, I hope he takes it. Look, I think, let's hope he's, maybe because he's not under the real bright lights of Las Vegas, if it's in England or whatever it might be, that, or even on a smaller card in the States, that maybe because the stakes aren't as high, that we might see a little better performance, I suppose. But if it's a good payday, well, obviously it's a no-brainer. I have heard some rumours that Michael might be sort of going back a little bit to the domestic circuit, the local circuit, to maybe build himself up. But of course, if that Eubank Jr. fight is offered, well, why wouldn't he? I just wonder why, unless PBC have said, look, let's just give him this fight and then we can get rid of him or whatever it might be. I don't know, but it doesn't make sense that Eubank Jr. would want to seek out Michael Zarafa, because in the scheme of things, it's an absolute nothing fight. I mean, Michael at the moment, unfortunately, in world boxing has pretty much zero credibility, excuse me, because of what happened. So Chris Eubank Jr., who fights rarely enough anyway, excuse me, why he would sort of pick Michael Zarafa, unless, of course, as I said, PBC have said, well, we need to get Chris a fight. Michael's still got a fight left on the contract. Let's just get it and be done, and we're back to square one. But and then it's up to Michael, isn't it? He gets another crack at it. But yeah, he's, as I said, I have heard he might be going back to the local level just for a little bit, but we'll see what happens, I suppose. So all right. So after 6 rounds here of that's blood. Some both with bad cuts there. Yeah, and you can see you can't see it, I can. The clash of heads there for the first cut. But both, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. DeBomb? I'm going to call him DeBomb because I like that name better. So we've got 4 rounds to go, and then we're into the main prelim. So I would have thought by now maybe the main prelim might have been on. But anyway, Big J. If Mayweather versus Pacquiao happened in 2009 and 10, Pacquiao sleeps Mayweather. Mayweather did what he always did and waited until Pac-Man was too old. Floyd, the biggest ducker in history. Mate, I think you've been a little bit harsh there. I mean, you look at other Hall of Famers and all-time greats. I think if you really delved into their records, you could probably see a little bit of that in everyone. I don't see the term Floyd being Ducker has been appropriate. I mean, I'm just going to rattle them off my head. You've got Pacquiao, you got De La Hoya, you got Cotto, Hatton, Mosley. I know all these happen at different times, but not to mention coming up with Gaddy and Judah and all these fighters. And Canelo, throw Canelo in there as well. I just think, by looks of things there, Big J, you're not a Mayweather fan. And if you're not a fan of a fighter, you can pick the records through and find all sorts of holes in it. I could look at Pac, and I love Pac-Man, by the way, and I'm not a Floyd man. I'm just sort of seeing it as I see it. But I would think even with Pac-Man, he lost 8 or 9 times. And I know a couple of those were early in his career, but you could easily say, well, how could you even contemplate having Pac-Man mention the same breath as someone like Floyd or even a De La Hoya, even though Pac beat De La Hoya, of course, when he's had so many losses. I mean, as I said, if you really want to pick holes in records, you can do it with anyone, even the late, great Sugar Ray Robinson. If you really went through his record, you say, well, shit, he lost 20-something times. How can he be the best fighter in history? I don't think Floyd's a ducker. I think him and his management, obviously a little bit stubborn, a little bit maybe arrogant, so the fights don't happen really when they 100% should. But, I mean, as I said, you can make that case for so many different fighters. I think Mayweather is, for me, definitely in the top 5 all-time pound-for-pound fighters in history. But I have a feeling you're about to disagree with me after I've said that, so whatever. It's only opinion-based, mate. It's everyone's got their own views on things. I just view Floyd Mayweather as one of the greatest fighters of all time, who just pretty much beat everyone worth note of his generation. So, and I suppose you could make the case for Pac-Man as well. But at the end of the day, he lost 8 fights. We obviously all want to watch Benavidez and Canelo. That will be a huge fight, yeah. Will it, Stephanie? I know we all want that fight. I'm just one of probably the rare people that I just think Canelo wins that fight. I won't say definitively, but I think he wins it clearly. I just think Benavidez, size-wise aside, that's the only thing for me. Talent-wise, I just think Canelo would just counter him all night and win every round. But, well, most rounds. But on the other hand, the size difference. Benavidez would come into the fight probably 20 pounds heavier than what Canelo is. So that's probably the only advantage I give him. But I still back Canelo. I really think he beats Benavidez definitively or conclusively. So we'll see. Let's hope we get an opportunity to see it anyway, Stephanie. Trevor, could there be a Zarafa Hardman 2? It's possible, Trevor. 100% possible. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, before the Lara fight, I mean, I could understand Michael saying not interested, but at the moment, he's got to rebuild. He's got to rebuild himself. I mean, like it or not, he was blown out in 2 rounds, without sort of barely a whimper and by Lara. And now he's got to come back. But with Hardman coming off a loss as well, but no limit, maybe see it as an opportunity to headline one of the cards. I think it's a good fight. I would love to see Zarafa Hardman too. I would think Michael would probably win again, but I'd still like to see it. These guys have wide bodies. They're both thick. This is the 2 fighting at the moment, I'm gathering there, mate. But especially the Russian, really thick set. His thick legs, thick hips. So he's getting inspected again. And the fight is over. So they've stopped the fight. So what is it? It will be 7 rounds down. So we will go to the scorecards for a result. And it's going to be close, I think. What's his name? Merzyliev. I think he will get the decision, but we'll see in a sec. So, yeah, it's the 7th round. It has been stopped. I'd like to see the rematch. I think it makes sense where they're at in their careers. No Limit could use it as a co-headliner. Sammy, I'd even like to see it. Well, I know they could probably promote it up on one of the pay-per-views, but on the other hand, I'd love to see it even as a standalone Wednesday night show on Fox. But do a bigger show, not one of these ones in a little basketball court or something. Do it a little bit bigger, like Ace Boxing did the other night with the Premier Boxing Series. But either that, yeah, I think a co-main on one of Nikita's shows or something like that it'd be great. All right. Lost my way a bit there. Where are we? Yep, when Mayweather fought those guys. Hang on, have I got there? Oh, okay. Yep. I agree with you. Canelo destroys David, although I still think they should fight, but I don't see it as a great fight, a one-sided beatdown. I just didn't like what I saw from Benavidez in his last couple of fights. I think he's predictable. I think he's easy to counter. And I understand everyone wants to see the fight, but to be honest with you guys, if I had Munguia and Benavidez side by side, I'd be almost tempted to say I'll take Munguia. I just think he's going to be the harder fight. Benavidez will be big and strong. I just think that Canelo counters him all night long. But let's at least get the opportunity to see it. What's that there? When Mayweather fought those guys, they were old men though, and Robinson had over 100 fights. Well, he had over 100 fights. Look, this is the thing, mate. We could go back and forth. As I said, you could pick fors and against of every single fighter in history. You really could. I mean, Muhammad Ali lost to Leon Spinks, who'd only had, 6 or 7 fights. I mean, I'm not going to pick it Muhammad Ali, but you know what I'm saying? If you want to say, no, well, Joe Louis was better. You know, he didn't lose to a guy that only had 6 or 7 fights. I think Muhammad Ali is far superior to Lewis and probably every other heavyweight out there. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just thinking, I just said before, if you want to pick holes, you can. And with Robinson, he lost 20 or 30 times, whatever it might have been. Is he still the number one fighter in history? I think yes. But I'm just saying, if you really want to look at everyone's records, and I just look at Floyd Mayweather's record. And I just think, yeah, some of the fights were a little bit low, but don't forget, he was older as well. And I know the Margarito fight never happened. I think Floyd would have absolutely schooled Margarito. But he fought Canelo. I know everyone says that Canelo was too young, but he was a 2-time world champion when they fought. Had 40 or 50 fights, so I don't subscribe to that. A lot of people were picking Canelo, and they obviously thought they could beat Floyd, or else they wouldn't have taken the fight. Guys like Mosley, Hatton was a bit of a killer at the time, probably custom made for Floyd, probably. But yeah, I don't know. As I said, look, everyone can go around in circles, and I'm sure that gets debated all the time on different sites. I'm just saying, if you want to find issues with people's records and legacies, then you can do it on every single fighter in history. I think Floyd Mayweather Jr. was the best managed fighter in recent history. Well, that's probably hit it on the head right there, Sammy. Might not have made the biggest fights at the right times. However, his career was managed really intelligently. Well, maybe that's what a lot of people aren't happy with him. He's managed himself so well over his career. And he fought them at the time that suited him. That's what happens when the A side. We're seeing a little bit with that Canelo at the moment. So, and look, I know we all go back to, back in the day, and I'd probably look at someone like a Sugar Ray Leonard. He was like a Floyd Mayweather Jr., and he doesn't get any of the flack that Floyd does. He dictated when he fought a lot of his opponents as well. So we all remember even back to the second Roberto Duran fight. He'd been beaten from him earlier in the year, or whatever it was, 6 months or something earlier. And instead of waiting, he wanted to fight as soon as possible because he knew Roberto Duran blew out in between fights and wanted him ASAP. So being Sugar Ray Leonard, even though Duran won the first fight, he had to take the fight. Sugar Ray Leonard was still the A side. So he dictated when he fought Hearns, Hagler even. He dictated when he fought Hagler. So I love Sugar Ray Leonard, but this is the same sort of mentality here. And were the greats like Roberto Duran and all these types of guys didn't have that same type of management. So they did fight anyone, anywhere, anytime, and lost a lot of fights as well. So maybe they just wish they had the same management that Floyd Mayweather had. But I think we can't argue that Floyd Mayweather, like you said, is the best managed, but the best businessman / fighter of all time. And I just think there's some salty people there that just don't like the fact that he's been so successful. And as I said, I couldn't care less. I'm not a big Mayweather fan, but you got to call it as you see it. I just think he's just been, the front runner and trendsetter of boxing for the last 20 years. All right, so we're going to go to the decision now. So the 8th round, that was stopped. All right, here we go with the scorecards. 79, 73 times 2. All right, so Merzyliev, he wins a unanimous decision. And he's got the WBA. He's an interim, so technically unanimous decision, improves to 14-1. Bektemir Meliat Kusev. So I'm not quite sure what belt he's got there, but it's a WBA something, an interim belt or something. So, all right. It's easy to see with your eyes. Canelo at this point in his career has huge speed advantage and hits like a donkey. David can't do anything against that, slipping punches and tagging him with power. Yeah, look, I see a little bit of the Kovalev fight in there, the way Canelo fought him. I know Kovalev didn't really, in my opinion, turn up in peak condition. I think he sort of knew the result before it started, if that makes sense. But I think he was just picked right at the right time. And I know, look, Canelo's getting a little bit of that at the moment, isn't he? But this is the other thing that people get salty about. When you're the A side, you can do whatever you like. And I know we all respect someone like Oscar De La Hoya, and so we should. He's an unbelievable fighter. But I got a feeling his management wasn't the best, because as fans, we love the fact that he fought anyone, anywhere, anytime, and at their peak and everything else. But in hindsight, in these days, I reckon you would probably see him be a little bit more choosy with who he fights. It'd be all about the best money fights at the right time. Just the best fighters in the world do it. And I just think Floyd Mayweather, I know I said it was a little bit of Leonard back in the day, but definitely more prominently these days, or in just the bygone sort of 5 or 6 years, that Floyd Mayweather Jr. just paved the way on how an A-side fighter should manage their career. So, all right, so we've got the card there. So Barboza is next, and then we have the main event. So we should be on probably around 2 o'clock, I would think, for the main event. So we've got some big fights coming up. Looking forward to Estrada and Bam Rodriguez. I think that'll be a great fight. Not looking forward to Tyson Paul, if anyone asks that. But I am looking forward to the undercard with Serrano and Katie Taylor on there. I think it'll be great. It's probably one good thing they've done to give us fans a reason to watch the card, even though it's free, so I'm sure we'll watch anyway. All right, 1 second there, guy. I'm going to turn my fans up a little bit there. All right, just getting a little bit stuffy in here at the moment. That's better. All right. I've been watching some old school fights lately, in particular Roberto Duran, fantastic fighter, and to have success at so many weight classes, especially only being 5'7", 66-inch reach. Well, he was one of my absolute favourite fighters growing up, Sammy. I know it's an understatement. He was probably everyone's favourite fighter, but I remember watching Duran. Actually, I'd seen some, because here in Australia, you probably understand where I'm getting at. When he was around, we very rarely got fights here. We'd have to, obviously there's no internet or anything like that, so we couldn't YouTube it or stream it or anything like that. So we had to wait for magazines, which were 3 months behind, but very, very rarely we would get a fight. And I remember seeing highlights of the Duran Marvin Hagler fight. I'd seen some clips through videos of his other fights, but I hadn't seen a lot of him. The first big fight, or live big fight, of Roberto Duran was the fight with Thomas Hearns. They and I think they had the Leonard fight on a couple of years or 4 years earlier, but I was a little bit young for that one, so I don't remember it. But I still remember the Hearns fight, and I couldn't wait to see Duran fight for the first time live. And we all know what happened there. He got absolutely demolished in 2 rounds by the Hitman, and what a performance. Probably his best win of his career, I thought. The Hitman, he just looked absolutely indestructible that night, and made short work of Duran. But then I remember, then we saw more and more fights, and I actually had not a supplier, like a guy who was based here in Australia, in Melbourne, who used to import videos from overseas, America and England, and he would record the fights for me, and I'd be able to watch them. And that's how I ended up watching a lot of these fighters, because back in the day, I know I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but I remember back then, this is the mid to late 80s, I remember fighters like Donald Curry was probably the pound for pound best at that stage. Milton McCrory was his sort of heir apparent, but You know, there was Julio Cesar Chavez and Vinny Pazienza and Hector Camacho and Hagler, of course, and all these great fighters. And the only way we could see them was by downloading the videos. And I'd read about a lot of these fighters, but never actually saw them fight them. And even fighters like, you probably don't remember a lot of them out there, guys, but Billy Costello and Harry Arroyo and all these types of Matthew Hilton I was a big fan of, who was a Canadian 154-pound fighter. I used to love all those fighters, but I never saw them fight. I was always just reading about them in the paper. And another one was Jaime Garza, another great Mexican who was just a knockout artist at the time as well. So all these great fighters, I never saw them. It was all just reading about them. And then when to be able to see them, and as I said, Duran was especially one. And I still remember when he fought Iran Barkley in 89. I think I might have been 15 or something at the time, going down to the pub and watching him fight Barkley, and what a performance. And we also remember, of course, Davey Moore, that fight, but just an absolute legend. I had the pleasure of actually meeting him. I met him actually a couple of times, once in Queensland when Horn fought Pacquiao, and once at the Box Expo in Vegas, and just a lovely, lovely guy. And a quick story about him, I was actually there with Shannon O'Connell, and she'd fought the night before in Canada when we'd flown over for the Mayweather Roberto fight it was. And she'd been cut and really took some punishment. So she had two big black eyes and a cut on her head, and she looked shocking. And I was walking in the airport, by the way, when we got there with her, and wondering why I was getting all these weird looks. Well, obviously people thought I was an abusive husband or something, because I had to sort of keep my distance. But when we got to Vegas, we went to the Box Expo, and Shannon, all she wanted to do was meet Roberto Duran, and she met him, and she actually he pulled her out of line. He took one look at her. She had the sunglasses on, but you could tell that she was still pretty beat up. And he pulled her out of the line and brought her to the front, and gave her a big hug, and took some photos with her and everything else. So that was Duran, but really, really lovely guy. And I think he might be like 70 years old now, so he's definitely getting on, but definitely a legend, Sammy. I know I've waffled on a bit long there, but keep the comments coming anyway. We've got a little bit of time to kill. So we've got Arnold Barboza Jr. and Sean McComb. McComb is 18-1 with 5 KOs. And Barboza, I think it was 29-0 with 18 KOs, I think it was. So the boys are about to do the ring walk now. And then, of course, we're into the main event. All right. I think Canelo is 34 years old now. Realistically, he doesn't have many great fights left in his career, as Father Time is coming. So hopefully he picks those great fights and rides off into the sunset. I'm assuming you're saying there. Yeah, and that's the thing, mate. I just think if Canelo decides that at 34, almost 34 years of age, or he might have just turned 34, if he's got 1, maybe 2 years left in him, I'm not that concerned if he doesn't fight Benavidez. If he sees that fight as not fitting into what he wants to do, and remember, he's the A side, he can do whatever he wants. I wouldn't begrudge him. I really wouldn't. I mean, Benavidez is young, he's big, he's strong. So I've got no dramas if he says, you know what, I wouldn't mind. I don't know who else he fights, by the way, because Morrell's now gone up to light heavyweight as well. But I wouldn't begrudge him. However, I think my gut feeling says, well, initially it was going to be September, but I don't think that's going to happen now, because I think Benavidez is fighting, June 22nd, I think it is. So that fight's going to be off. I've got a feeling it'll be May next year. We'll see Canelo Benavidez. I think Canelo will probably fight Berlanga in September, and then he will fight Benavidez May next year. And then who knows, that could be it. And I wouldn't have a problem with that. He's fought anyone worth anything in his career, and beaten 99% of them. So I think he would deserve it. All right, so Double G. The good old pre-internet days. I remember being glued to Wide World of Sports on a Saturday arvo, just waiting for a snippet of boxing or Mr. Motocross. Well, I was probably with you there, Double G. I'm with you. I used to watch Wide World of Sports on a Sunday morning, and if there was a clip come up, they were going to have boxing on, I'd sit there and I recorded everything. And one of my biggest regrets ever in life is when did VHS recorders come out, like 84, 85? Might have been a little bit earlier, but I was about 10. And I started, there's Andy in the chat. How you going there, mate? We're just reminiscing here a little bit at the moment. But I remember Double G starting to record anything and everything on TV. So whether it be Wide World of Sport or the news or the fights themselves, I started with a 3-hour videotape and I just started recording everything. Now I got up to about 133 or 4-hour tapes that I had, and it was when was it? It was about a 20-year exercise. And I had them when then obviously DVD players started to come out and everything else. So I put them in a big box and I put them in my garage. I had 130 videotapes, either 3 or 4 hours long, chock full of fights, Wide World of Sports documentaries or whatever they were, segments, news clips on Channel 7 News or Channel 9 News, going right back to 1984. And when I moved house in 2004, it's like I got no use for these anymore, so I turfed the whole box. And this was before, obviously, 2 years before YouTube, by the way. I think it was 2006 YouTube came out. So let's just say, Double G, I would have had YouTube gold in my possession back then, because I remember I taped anything that was on the news. I sat there every single day and night. Actually, I used to go down to the pub on a Friday night. They used to have, I was like 14 or 15 at the time. And the publican there used to let me come in and I'd bring the video recorder with me. He didn't have one. I'd bring it with me. I'd hop up on a chair. I'd connect it all up and I would tape the ESPN Friday night fights every Friday night. And the pub was packed. And I'm down there plugging the video in and I wouldn't let anyone change a channel or anything like that. And I recorded everything. And as I said, mate, I had that many videos I didn't know what to do with. And they're probably in landfill somewhere at the moment, so that's one of my biggest regrets ever. Because a lot of the things I recorded, just the ones I can remember, I would jump on YouTube, and none of them are on there. So I would have had a really good channel, Double G. But anyway, that's life, isn't it? You're going to live stream the fight because it should be coming up. Can't live stream it, Stephanie. I'll get blocked. You can't do anything with these, although that's why I've got the sound down as well. This is just a watch along. I'm assuming a lot of you guys and girls out there have got it because it's on DAZN. It's not like it's a pay-per-view. But no, Stephanie, I can't stream the fight. So if that's what you come on here for, sorry, I can't help you. I can only commentate along with the fight as it happens and obviously discuss it with you guys out there. But no, I can't stream it, Stephanie, unfortunately. I saw Shannon O'Connell has a fight lined up with a Thai opponent. On paper, she should win relatively easily, but I hope she has another big domestic fight after this one if her shoulder holds up. The reason she's got the Thai opponent, Sammy, is I think she just literally can't find anyone to fight for whatever reason that might be. I know that Beck Hawker was in the mix to fight Shannon. Of course, unfortunately, Beck's had to retire due to injuries and illness and all this sort of stuff. So that's a real shame. But apparently, yeah, Shannon was in line to fight Beck, which would have been a great fight. But I would say, no limit, just say, look, we have to get her someone. Let's just get her a tie, and at least it gets her back in the mix. Remember, it's probably been nearly 18 months since she's fought, so let's just get her in there. Get her. Look, she'll probably demolish his Thai opponent. That's cool. And then maybe there might be another fight lined up after that. Depends on what weight she's at. I know she'd probably love to go up to featherweight and fight Sky Nicholson. There's a little bit of beef there, as we know. But there's a few girls around. There's maybe a rematch with Shanika Johnson if she wins the WBA bantamweight title or super bantamweight world title. So there might be that. Who knows? I doubt there'll be Ebony Bridges again. But you just never know. But look, fight as long as you can. Shannon's one of those fighters who just looks after herself really, really well. So if her shoulder's okay, well, why not keep fighting? On one of the earlier prelims, the referee told the corner to cut the tassels off from one of the fighter's boots. I didn't see that there, Colin. Very confusing considering some of the outfits you see. As far as the thoughts and rules go, Colin, I think it'd probably be up to the referee's discretion if he thought they were going to, maybe he's going to trip on them or something like that. I don't know. I didn't see it, but I'll go back and watch that a little bit later as we enter round one, by the way, of Barboza and McComb. McComb's a southpaw. Arnold Barboza is obviously orthodox and doesn't look too bad style-wise at the moment, McComb. But yeah, that's an interesting one. I'll have to see it because I mean, if the costumes or outfits, whatever it might be, pose any dramas as far as I said, maybe being stepped on or tripped over or something like that, then obviously he would do it. But you're right, seeing some of the trunks and all that they wear these days, that's an interesting one. So I'll make sure I check that out, Colin. I didn't see that. Had Tim got the result we all wanted and won against Fundora, possibly he was next in line to fight Crawford. At this stage in his career, I think Crawford wins. The Crawford fight, I got no doubt, would have been next, Ryan. 100% that fight would have been next. And that's the shame of the whole situation, how one or two decisions here or there are going to impact him so much. Now, who knows? He still might get the Crawford fight down the track. But, yeah, it's a shame. Let's hope it's just a little speed bump in his career at this stage. And if he gets the Fundora fight and sets it right, well, everything's good again, isn't it? But, yeah, I don't know, Mo. I just don't know what's going to happen. And does he win? Yeah, look, maybe you're right, Crawford. From what I saw, though, in the first couple of rounds, I know it's only 2 rounds, I still think Tim gives Crawford all he can handle. I still think look, as much as I hate to say it, I'll probably still back Crawford to win the fight, but I think it would be just a great fight. Let's hope we do get it down the track. What's that there? What time is the fight? So I think it'll be about 2 o'clock. Lou Pitt 69. So we're in round 1 of the main prelim, which is only a 10-rounder. So I would think about 2 o'clock, I reckon, mate, will be the time, which is in, let's just see what time it is in the States. It would be 11 o'clock, well, it'll be 12 o'clock. So midnight in New York and 9 o'clock on the West Coast, which is about right. It's about right to have it on that time. It's a little bit stiff, isn't it? You would have thought they would have went even an hour earlier. So the main event in New York is at 11. It'd still be only 8 o'clock in Las Vegas or LA, whatever it might be. So that's unusual. All right. It's amazing how time flies by. Yesterday, Canelo was 20-something, and now he's in his sunset years of his career, all in the blink of an eye. Well, I remember being at a fight, and I'd never heard of the Canelo. I was at which fight was it? It might have been Mayweather Mosley or one of those fights. I remember it was one of my earlier ones when I went to Vegas, and he was on the undercard. I'd never heard of him. And that's when he was only 20, something like that, 19 or 20, whatever. And I remember the crowd just going nuts for this guy. And I said to the guy next to me, who's this fella? And he said, this guy's the next big thing. And it happened to be the fight where he fought Cotto's brother and almost got dropped. Let me know if you know what card it was on. I'm pretty sure it was Mayweather Mosley. But he got rocked and almost dropped in that fight. And I remember thinking, geez, well, he can't be that good. But once he just stopped and sat down. And then I went to see him fight. I was in LA on holiday, and he was fighting Matthew Hatton at the, where was it? I think it was in Anaheim, the basketball stadium or hockey stadium, whatever it was there in Anaheim. And poor old Matthew Hatton, I think there was 10 or 11, must have been 11,000 people there. And I reckon 10,990 of them were Mexican or, American fans. And poor old Matthew Hatton had a small little entourage of about 10 or 12 people. And the crowd, when he came out, I just remember looking at him. And we had ringside seats. They were really cheap. They were like $150. And we were literally first row, sitting right behind, might have been Matthew Hatton's corner, actually, 1 or 2 rows back. And just seeing Canelo up close, just an absolute beast. And then I saw him fight Mosley on the Mayweather Cotto undercard, and I've seen him numerous times since. But I'm with you there, mate. It just seems like yesterday I was sitting up there in the cheap seats at the MGM Grand watching this young Mexican kid who hadn't done anything. I mean, that was 2010, which probably makes sense. Was it 14 years ago? So it would probably compare to that, when he was 20. So, yeah, it does fly, doesn't it? Sammy, it's apparent you've been to some pretty big fights live in your prime. What was the most exciting fight you've ever seen in person? Yeah, I have been to a lot of fights, Sammy. I've done a few videos of it earlier, and if you want to check it out, I just sort of reviewed a few. The first big fight, and probably you could almost call it the most exciting fight, was Manny Pacquiao and Ricky Hatton at the MGM Grand. And we're in round number 2 here, by the way, guys. I'll keep you up to date with what's happening. It was Manny Pacquiao, Ricky Hatton at the MGM Grand. I'd been to the fights before and one in Vegas, but I was on holiday. It was Shane Mosley and someone that ended in a 3rd round draw. There's a cut eye or something. And So it was my first time specifically going over there for a big fight, and I was so excited. And I got over there, and just the hype, and I remember walking into the press area and obviously the stadium itself. I missed the weigh-in because it was my first time there. I didn't know what happened with the weigh-in. I didn't know where it was and what time, and obviously didn't check the internet or anything at the time, and I missed the weigh-in. So I got to the fight, and all week there was just like the whole city was taken over by Brits. Every pub was, I think, was drunk dry, and everywhere you went, it was Brits everywhere. And of course, with my accent, I got mistaken for being a POM, even though I gave up trying to explain, look, I'm not actually English, but whatever. So I remember being there for that, and the UK or the British fans were just so passionate about everything, and then the fight itself. And, only went 2 rounds, but Manny Pacquiao, with the performance he put on, absolutely obliterated Ricky Hatton. And I remember the crowd when he came out went nuts for Ricky Hatton, and it was like dead silence once he went down. And it was also funny because, not funny, not for Ricky Hatton, but they didn't really know how to take the Filipino fans. The Filipino fans were up and about and singing and chanting, and the song, there's only one Ricky Hatton. Well, they were singing "There's no more Ricky Hatton," and the Brits, I think it had been anyone else, it could have been on with the supporters, but they didn't really know how to take the Filipino supporters. All they could really do was probably laugh as we finished round number 2, and just the excitement. Now, maybe my excitement was for that because it was my first time, but the actual best fight I've ever been to, let's just see, I've probably seen Floyd Mayweather 8 or 9 times, Pacquiao about the same, Canelo about 6 or 7 times. I'm just trying to think. Probably, I don't know. I'll have to have a think about that one, Sammy. You've put me on the spot a bit there. Look, they've all been unbelievable fights, but that for me was the most exciting one. I'll just quickly run through a few and let me just see if I can. So the following year I went to Mayweather, Mosley. 2011 I went to Pacquiao and Mosley. End of the year I went. Oh, actually, I can tell you the best fight was Pacquiao Marquez 4 when Pacquiao got knocked out. I was at that fight. But that year I went to when Tim Bradley beat Pacquiao. I went to, obviously, as I said, the Pacquiao Marquez fight. I went to Mayweather Cotto that year as well. 2013 I went to Mayweather Guerrero, Mayweather Canelo. 14 I went to both Mayweather Madonna fights. In 15, we didn't go, but we were in Vegas for Mayweather Pacquiao. We couldn't get tickets, but we're over there for a training camp with the Maloney boys. Went to Mayweather Berto later in the year. I went to see, who was it? 2016, 17. Been to all 3 Triple G Canelo fights. I'll probably go on. I won't bore you with it all there, guys. I'm just pumping myself up a bit here. I won't do that. But yeah, I've been to a lot of fights, but the most exciting one was Pacquiao Marquez Sammy. It was an awesome fight. And when Pacquiao hit the deck, I thought the roof was going to be lifted off the stadium. And I had my 2 little kids at that time. My oldest would have been 7, maybe just turned 8. And my youngest fella was 5, almost about to turn 6. And we took it to the fights. And what happened was when Pacquiao hit the deck and they stopped the fight, everyone threw their beer and popcorn, everything up there. And we got absolutely drenched in beer. So I'm trying to get the kids out through the crowd. And my youngest, he'd fall asleep anywhere. He fell asleep at a Guns N' Roses concert, by the way. But he fell asleep, so I'm trying to carry him through the casino, and there's thousands of people everywhere, and everyone's going crazy, and he's asleep, and we're all drenched in beer, and yeah, it was an eventful night, put it that way. But that is the most exciting fight. Not just the excitement afterwards, but the fight itself was an absolute ripper. It really was, just back and forth. And you remember Pacquiao got dropped in the 3rd, I think it was, and then he looked like he had Marquez gone, and then he got dropped himself. It was just a great night. But anyway, I'll continue on there, guys. Those are great memories there. Well, I think all boxing fans have great memories, mate. But I just remember being obsessed with boxing from 6, 7 years of age, and every month, before the internet, of course, my mum would go down to the news agency at the end of every month and buy me about 5 or 6 magazines, and they'd do me for the whole month. And every night I would lie in bed and read different articles, and I knew every result, every fighter, everything about boxing at that stage. And just totally obsessed, and they were just great days. And that's why even these days, when I've been to the Hall of Fame in Canastota, New York, a couple of times, and the last time I was there was 2 years ago for the actual induction. The first time I went was just to have a look at it, go to the museum and see the pavilion out there with the ring from Ali Fraser 1 in it, which was awesome. But I went to the induction 2 years ago when they had the 3-in-1 because of COVID. And I remember, I'm just going to rattle off some names that were there. Mayweather, Cotto, Andre Ward. Who was it? Just trying to think. Hopkins would have still been in there. There's a whole run. There's so many, I can't even remember who they were. Shane Mosley, they were all in there anyway. But not only those guys were there, but also all the old Hall of Famers all turn up for the weekend. And they're all just within here, like a couple of feet away. So it's not like you go to Vegas and they've got security around them and thousands of fans trying to get to them, and where they're pretty unapproachable. Where they're sort of ushered in by their minders. And when you go to Canastota, and I implore you, if you ever can get there, go to Canastota, New York for the induction, because they're all there for the dinner and the parade, and they get up on the pavilion stage and just do interviews, and afterwards they hang around, they take photos and sign autographs. Just a really, really good time. And for someone from back in those times, mate, to see all those guys from that era of where I grew up and idolised them through magazines and some videotapes, to see them all there. I'm talking about the Vinny Pazienzas and, as I said before, Roberto Duran and Thomas Hearns and all those types of guys that are all there. I would have loved to have seen Hagler there. Of course, unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But just the fighters that you get there. I actually met Marlon Starling. I'm not sure whether a lot of you have heard of him out there, but the Magic Man back in the day, he demolished Lloyd Honeyghan and Mark Breland. So he's a really, really good fighter. Had a couple of really good fights with Donald Curry as well. And I just happened to run into him, introduce myself. He's a great guy. No one really sort of gave him a lot of attention. I just went up to him and shook his hand, and it was just great. But not just him, it's just so many, or too many to even talk about. But if you ever get the chance, guys, and you're a real boxing fan, Canastota, New York. I think it's in June every year they do it, and just an unbelievable experience. And just where you can literally walk up to them and say, hi, can I get a photo and an autograph? And they all do it without all the entourages, without all the security, without all the minders. And those smart asses that tell the press to keep back and to clear out and one more question. I mean, none of them are there. Just the fighters and maybe one or two of their friends or family or whatever. And it's just a really, really good time. So anyway, I could keep going on all day, guys, of my little adventures. All right, so we're in the round number 4 here, guys. And I must admit, I haven't really watched any of it so far. I've been talking to you guys, but we're halfway through round 4. Doesn't look like a bad scrap at this stage. All right, what got me into boxing as a kid was when my dad got Barrera versus Morales on pay-per-view on Ozstar. Yep, I remember Ozstar. It's one of my favourite rivalries of all time. Yeah, I didn't actually watch that back in the day, because there was probably a time there when I first got in the business where I become a passive boxing fan, if that makes sense. I was so busy. This is the late 90s when I just finished my sort of career, and I got into business, and going from being obsessed with boxing to being obsessed with my business, and that's all I was focused on. So I became a passive fan where I was only I wasn't all over it like I used to be. I was just sort of looking at results, and occasionally I'd go to the pub or whatever. But so I went through a period around that time where I didn't watch a lot of those fights, Sammy, not live anyway. But obviously since then I've watched them numerous times, and it would have been great to watch those fights on Ozstar. Well, because the pay-per-views on Ozstar or on our pay TV didn't really come into the mid or late 80s, late 90s, I'm probably thinking, maybe early 2000s when the pay-per-view started to happen. Back then, you had to obviously go to the pub. So, and I just love having the fights at home. I mean, it's okay sometimes. It used to be okay going to the pub with the atmosphere, but you get a lot of fans who aren't real boxing fans. They're just there to drink, and they make noise, and you can't hear what's going on. And then you get a lot of fans or people that think they're fans, and they just don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they sort of irritate me. So I just love being at home watching the fights sort of by myself. So, well, I did. Now I'm watching it with you guys. So, All right, as we see Devin Haney in the change room warming up, he's got the nice silver gloves on there. What colour trunks is he got on there? I can't sort of see him there at the moment. Look, oh, yeah, grey trunks he's got and silver gloves. So he looks in really good. Isn't it amazing how they hydrate back up? I mean, you look like a skeleton at the weigh in. There's Ryan Garcia, looking a little more calm than what he usually does, doesn't he? I think now he realises what's going on, and he looks pretty focused. He looks ready to go. You could tell during the week though he wasn't going to make weight. Just looking at his body shape during the week, he looked in good condition, but it didn't look like he'd cut any weight really whatsoever. He might have lost, 5 or 6 pounds in the last couple of days, but I think he knew that he was never really going to make weight. So in the round number 5 now, Barboza Jr, Sean McComb. And it looks a pretty even fight so far. Barboza is marked up a little bit around the left eye. And McComb hasn't done too bad. All right, Adam, how you going there, mate? I'm very well. Looking forward to a big day of fights. And again, if you've got any predictions, any other boxing comments you want to talk about, happy to discuss anything that you want. And while we're going... I'm going to... Let's see what other news we've got out there at the moment as we're going. I always go, if you're looking for a really good site for all the latest, go to boxingnews24.com. So what else is going? Tank Davis, Frank Martin, Benavides and Vojtic on June 15th. Okay, so it'll be... It's a good fight. We've got a comment there from Colin. Tasselgate was the second earlier televised prelim between Kevin Newman the second and Eric Robles. Newman is trained by Roy Jones Jr. Okay, well, let's see if I can find anything on it and about it. Ryan Garcia says he's going to steal Loma's blueprint and KO Haney. What's this? Broner's all-in bet on Ryan Garcia. Belief or desperation. So what's he done? So he's putting all his money on Ryan Garcia. That's brave. All right. We'll keep going, see what else is going on. Both expected to hit 160 pound plus in tonight's fight. So there you go. Adam, what's your thoughts for Tim next? Yeah, we sort of discussed that a little bit earlier, mate, but I think he's going to play the waiting game. I think at the moment, he'd be a little bit nervous, or his team would be a little bit nervous. Now we're in the round 5 here too, guys. I think he'd be a little bit nervous because now you've got Charlo has entered the mix. You've got Crawford looks like fighting Madrimov. You've now got Charlo entering the mix. Fundora, now you've got Spence entering the mix. And Tim sort of, I don't know the exact deals and relationships and all that they have. I'm pretty sure, though, he has no real ironclad contract with PBC, of course, with no limit, but whether they've got a connection with PBC, I think they'd be feeling very nervous at the moment, even though Fundora's management, as we said earlier, have said they'll honour the rematch. Talk's cheap, in my opinion, and as I said earlier, if he gets offered twice as much money for a Spence fight than he would get fighting Tim, well, of course he's got to take it. So, yeah, I'm a little bit uneasy at the moment, Adam. In a perfect world, it'd be Fundora and Tim in November. I think that's what they're talking about. And then the winner would fight the winner of Crawford and Madrimov, and who knows where Spence falls into the scheme, and Charlo. So it looks like if Charlo is serious about getting into the equation, well, it looks like he'll fight the winner of Crawford and Madrimov. So that puts that off the table. So really, wouldn't it sort of be... The Spence one for me is the interesting factor, because take Crawford, Madrimov, and Charlo to one side, then obviously it's a no-brainer that it's Tim and Fundora. The fly in the ointment for me is Errol Spence. I've just got the feeling he's a PBC fighter. If he says, I want the Fundora fight next, I've got a really uneasy feeling that they'll make that fight happen and Tim will just be frozen out for a year, at least. Probably it might only be 18 months, and that puts him close to 30 years of age. I keep saying it, but isn't it just the swings and roundabouts, as I say? Just look at the scorecard here. Okay. They've got McComb up, in their opinion, 49-46. So could we see an upset tonight? I know he had some raps on him, McComb, but I'm 100% sure he would have been brought in as the opponent. So let's see if Barboza Jr. can turn the tables. But yeah, so in a perfect world, Adam, it's Tim and Fundora in November. Spence, I don't think he's going to want to fight a tune-up. That's the other thing that worries me. If the PBC said, it's all good, let's get Fundora and Tim to fight. You have a tune-up, and then we'll get you to fight the winner. I've just got the feeling Spencer's not going to want to take a back seat. And if that happens, that's what really makes me worried if the Fundora and Tim fight happens. And I don't think it'll be in Australia. Probably can confidently say that. They've got the upper hand and they'll say, no, we don't want to. And he's already said, Samson Lekovic, that he fears for his safety coming to Australia. Samson, don't stress, mate. We're all pretty easy going down this way. We get a little bit vocal, but yeah, don't stress too much about us down here, mate. Link. What link are you talking about there, mate? I'm not quite sure. We can't put a link for the fight up, or we can't show or hear any of the show for obvious reasons. This is a watch along, and they will probably cut my stream, I would say. Yeah, not good if it goes that way, Adam. But this is the thing that a lot of boxing fans, especially here in Australia, don't get. What they like, what happens these days, it's all, most people believe the shit that the media feeds them. And in the boxing media, it's all about, it's all good. Tim's going to fight. It's all been agreed to. It's far from agreed on, is the fight. Yes, we've got the verbal agreement and everything else, but I'm telling you, all that goes out the window. And because the thing is, what a lot of people here in Australia don't realise is that, and it has sort of changed in the last few months with what happened with the Fundora fight, but Tim is not a big fish in the States. Massive fish here in Australia. The biggest fish is the whale here in Australia. But in the US, and it might have changed a little bit now, he's more respected, but his stature hasn't really changed because he lost the fight. And as we know, the US only like winners. So this is the interesting thing, that he doesn't have the hand that he would have here in Australia. And now that Fundora's got the belts, people have to understand that Tim and his team are probably going to have to do what they're told. I know it's always been the opposite here in Australia, but over there, PBC and they determine, and Al Heyman, and of course all the guys that run PBC, they determine what happens. And if they decide they want Fundora and Spence, well, Fundora and Spence it is. That's just the way it is. And I don't agree with it. I don't like it. But that's boxing, unfortunately. And it's a filthy, filthy business. It really is. All right, Colin. Just make sure you like and subscribe there, guys. We've got close to 30 people watching at the moment. I know a lot of people are probably coming in and out. And hopefully we'll be here for the main event. We'll get a few watching. But further effects with Turkey how do you pronounce it? Al-Sheikh. Also now working with PBC. I did see that, Colin. Taking off the Fundora, Tim, Spence, Crawford, 154, or talking of the 154 situations. That's the thing, Colin. Well, now they've dipped the toe in the water with what looks like going to be Crawford and Madrimov. Do they now say, well, we want Fundora, Spence? Could even be on that card. Oh, no, I doubt it, because that's going to be later in the year. But it could be Fundora, Spence. Because in the world scheme, Fundora Spence is still probably bigger than Fundora Tim. And I don't like saying that. But to the worldwide audience, Fundora Spence is a lot bigger fight than probably Tim. I still can't believe that, was it been 3 weeks, whatever it's been since the fight, that just, the swings and roundabouts, as they say, where in 1 second you're the WBO champion, you're fighting for the vacant WBC belt. If you win, you most likely fight Crawford. Now, all of a sudden, we're trying to stay relevant after giving the fans what they wanted, giving the promoters what they wanted to keep the show alive, keeping all the fighters on the card. You've done the right thing for everyone, and you're the one that ends up on the wrong side of it. That's the thing that really pisses me off the most. But again, that's boxing, and it's a brutal, brutal business. All right. Well, let me know any other comments you got there, guys. We'll keep going through the news as we see it. Here it is here. So Crawford signals Saudi-backed move. I might see even, I'll read it out anyway. I won't try and play with my screen and try and bring it up because I did this hurriedly in the last little bit. So in the round 7, by the way, and Barboza Jr. McComb. Barboza's got some work to do. Could we see a massive upset here? All right, so it says here, Terence Crawford seemed to confirm today that he'll be working with Saudi promoter His Excellency. Do we have to call him His Excellency? I'm not calling him His Excellency. I'm just calling him the Sheikh, or the Saudi promoter. Turkey Al Sheikh. I'm going to call him Turkey from now on. For his next fight against WBA junior middleweight champion Israel Madrimov on August 3rd. There it is. We've got a date and location, Los Angeles, California. There you go. Earlier this week, former undisputed junior middleweight champion Jamal Charlo activated his WBA champion in recess status to become the next challenger to Madrimov ahead of Crawford. Crawford signaled on social media that he's next for WBA champion Madrimov, which foils Jamal's plans to be the unbeaten champ's next challenger. So this is where it all gets murky, because I know he's the top dog in the WBO, but I would have thought that the champion in recess would surpass Crawford, who's coming up from welterweight. But anyway, fans on social media wonder why Jamal chose this time for him to use his champion in recess spot. Some believe that Jamal is hoping he can join in with the money that the Al Sheikh is paying for fighters, while now he's got into the lighter weight divisions. There's also the possibility that Jamal wants to capture the WBA title and use it to get a fight with Crawford, who lost interest in fighting him after his loss against Canelo Alvarez last September. Jamal fought like he didn't even try to win. Who wins the fight between Jamal and Madrimov? I would back Madrimov, to be honest, as we finish round number 7 of the main support. It now remains to be seen what the WBA will decide. Okay, so there's the kicker. The WBA haven't signed off on it yet. They've got a date and location for Crawford and Madrimov, but the WBA haven't officially ticked it off yet. So will they grant Jamal his wish to be next for Madrimov due to his champion in recess designation, or will they allow Crawford to fight Madrimov next in August? I saw another article where it said that Charlo had given his blessing that he would fight the winner of Crawford Madrimov. Depends on who's writing the articles, I suppose. Fans would rather see the unbeaten Crawford versus as Madrimov next opponent. Yeah, I probably agree with that, as he's still ambitious and isn't coming off an uninspired performance like Jamal was after his defeat against Canelo. Madrimov is not someone that Jamal would normally be targeting, because without Al Sheikh, there's no money in a fight like that for him. So there you go. So again, it's just a lot of hearsay. All right, Adam. As we enter round number 8, Barboza and McComb. Let's just see what I'm going to rely on them for the scores. I'll be giving my scores as we go here too, guys, in the Haney Garcia fight, but I haven't really been that excited about the undercard, which is why I'm not really watching it full on. Can No Limit get a contract signed for November now or too early? I think No Limit would probably like to, Adam, but the problem is that Fundora, they're not going to sign anything until they absolutely have to. I got a feeling they'll be waiting on PBC to say you're either going to fight Tim or you're going to fight Spence. That's what I think they're waiting on. So it depends on what happens after that of what Fundora's camp does. And what is it now? We're in April, so we've got 7 months to go. So there's no way they're gonna sign that fight yet. So that's what I think will happen. They'll be obviously healing, having a holiday, all that sort of stuff, and I think they'll just let the dust settle, and then they'll make a decision what PBC want to do. Let's see what other news we've got out there, guys. Yeah, the Ryan Garcia's weighing prank. Apple juice and sparkling water disguised as beer. There's John Todds. How you going, John? Welcome to the watch along, mate. Reckon Garcia has early signs of CTE, or he's just cooked from drugs. I just think he's, I don't know. Well, I don't think he's got CTE because he hasn't really taken a lot of punishment in his career. And the drug thing, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, he has admitted that he smokes weed and obviously drinks a little bit, which that's no drama. As far as the other illicit drugs goes, well, who knows? I don't think he'd be an illicit drug or regular illicit drug user, but I don't know the guy, so I'm probably just guessing here, John. But at 25 years of age, he seems to be in that scene, doesn't he? But I don't know. I just think he's a guy that... What type of guy is he? I don't know. He's just a loose cannon. And he hasn't always been this loose. So I don't know. I think a lot of it is a bit of an act. But on the other hand, I think what he might have, John, for sure, is like ADHD. And maybe he's got a little bit of bipolar and all that sort of stuff as well, which makes him sort of carry on a little bit. But maybe he just needs to get some better medication to calm him down a little bit. But definitely ADHD. I mean, he can't sit still. He's always back and forth. Now, obviously, illicit drugs can do that as well. But I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, mate. All right. I read that WBA rejected Charlo's request as they already signed off for Crawford Madrimov. Well, that would make more sense to me. But when was that article written? It was only written today. So I don't know. Don't know. But I would probably back that as well. So that's round 8 down. And McComb might be on the brink of an upset victory here. 8 rounds down. I think he's won probably 5, if not 6. They've just got the promo up for Estrada Rodriguez. What a fight that'll be. June 29th. That'll be Juan Francisco Estrada and Bam Rodriguez. What a fight that will be. So we'll keep an eye on that anyway, mate, with the Crawford Madrimov. But I'm sure apparently there's going to be an announcement this week. So I'm with you. That probably shows that they have actually signed off on it. So, all right, Colin again. It doesn't seem to be many retail pubs, outlets around southeast Queensland have taken up the zone. Are the commercial prices that much different to the private pay-per-view rates? Well, they are considerably more, Colin. Now, I used to have a bar, it would have been 17 years ago, 18 years ago. That was when Ozstar, this is when you still had to go to the pub to watch them. It was before they did pay-per-views at home. And I used to get a lot of the Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya fights and those types of ones. And for instance, if you got a fight at home for say $30 or $40, you might pay up to $2,000 at the pub. Depends on the magnitude of the fight. I actually joined up back then. They used to have a plan or a subscription type of thing that if you committed to every single boxing event for the year, you got a discount, whatever else. But I remember we had Mayweather De La Hoya, and it might have been $2,000 to $2,500 to have that on. Now, on a Sunday afternoon here in Australia, you're expecting people to come in and drink and everything else. We always lost money on it. We always got a good crowd, but yeah, a lot of them just have a Coke or two. You know, none of them eat. None of them really do it. They just have a Coke or two. You might have a few that might have a beer or whatever it might be, but very rarely do you recoup your money. But other fights during the year used to have always, there was Danny Green, Anthony Mundine, all those types of guys. They're always, it might be pushing $800, $900, maybe $1,000, but you did have other fights from the States that now we get sometimes free on Fox Sports, or worst case, you've got to pay $30 to watch them on pay-per-view. They would cost maybe $500 or $600, but still, that's a lot of money. So I'm not quite sure how it works these days there, Colin. But yeah, that would probably explain it. And look, this fight here, Garcia and Haney, I mean, apart from us diehard fans, the average punter out there would not have a clue. Whereas you put that back in the day with Tyson, as I said, Mayweather, De La Hoya, always had a lot of, because you had a few guys at fight fans who drag their mates along who aren't necessarily boxing fans, but love an event. And they go there to have a few beers or a few Cokes, whatever it might be, on a Sunday and be part of a big event atmosphere. But Haney and Garcia, it's not, it's just not a big enough fight. And DAZN in general there, Colin, same thing. They just don't put on big enough fights. I think Fury and Usyk might be probably one, maybe Canelo Munguia, but definitely not today's fight, I wouldn't have thought. Yeah, Ross, the Rose. Yep, that was the that wasn't the one I was talking about actually, mate. It was a sports bar we had in the centre of Bendigo. It was the Red Mosquito Sports Bar. But the Rose of Australia pub was my first pub that I ever owned. That was 25 years ago, that one. And I don't think Ozstar even existed back then, Ross. So, yeah, between 2 and 2.5 pubs pay for fights. Yeah, well, that makes sense. All right, John, what did you think of Malik Kusev, the guy who won the fight before, world champ material? Yeah, I think it depends on who he fights, John. It was okay. Like most Russian fighters, tough and hard, just comes at you, but not a lot of defense shown, I didn't think. So it probably depends on who he fights. But what was that WBA belt he had? Was that an interim belt or whatever? I'm not quite sure. But yeah, no, it wasn't too bad, mate. But yeah, he's had a couple of losses, I think, hasn't he? 1 or 2 losses, but all right, 9 rounds down in the main support. So what is it, 20 minutes to 2? So we should be on schedule for a 2 o'clock
main event, hopefully. That's if Ryan Garcia comes out of the change rooms. It looks like he's ready to go there, guys. If you're not watching, they've had views of him on screen, and he looks focused and ready to go. So I think we're going to get a good fight today. Let's hope so anyway. All right, so 1 round to go. It looks like McComb is in front by what the commentators are sort of saying. I can sort of hear them in the background there. All right, what else have we got in the news today? Boots Ennis's dad says Ryan Garcia never intended to make weight. Well, I wouldn't argue with that. I mean, he didn't seem too stressed about it. Didn't look like he was overly drained either. So I don't know why. It's 3 pounds. If you're here in Australia, it's 1.5 kilos. It's not a lot of weight, especially when he didn't look drained at all. He actually looked quite good. All right, so the scorecard looks like it's 88-83. The commentators have it for McComb. So it looks like he's on the verge of an upset win over Arnold Barboza Jr., who was in line for some big fights as well. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there. Well, someone wrote an article this morning that says the farce of Arnold Barboza Jr. So I think he'd be feeling pretty good about himself at the moment. All right, so that's about it for the latest news. All right, so just over a minute to go. This might have a little bit of a lag in time too, guys. So I am 30 seconds or so behind. Apologies about that. But looks like power punches landed. Barboza Jr. only 32%. McComb 24%, but landed 70 more. So he's landed 285. Barboza Jr.'s 215. So, all right. As we get into the last, take that off there. All right. So halfway through the last round. Barboza Jr. is pouring on. He's looking for a knockout, but McComb goes back with him. Just fought a very, very smart fight. Now, I don't know much about Sean McComb, so McComb. Let's have a look at him. I want to see his record. Let's have a look. So he's 18-1. What was the loss? Against Gavin Gwynn back in 2021. He was stopped in the 7th round for the Commonwealth Lightweight Title. So he's had some good wins since then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins since then. This will be his 8th. So this is for the WBO Intercontinental Super Lightweight Title. So under a minute to go. So that other fight, by the way, was for the WBA Intercontinental Super Middleweight Title. That was Malik Kusiev over at DEVIN. What was his loss? A 3rd round stoppage to Gabriel Rosado. That's right. I remember that. Knocked him out. I remember that was a big upset. All right. 30 seconds to go, guys. Barboza Jr. and Sean McComb. McComb doing very, very well in this last round as well. Barboza tried to turn it on. He's had his success, but McComb comes back with some good shots. All right, 10 seconds to go. Let's hope this stream holds up the whole day, guys. It's always the way. We either get through the prelims okay, and then it bombs out for the main event. All right, guys. Well, that's it for the 10th round of the main support. Arnold Barboza Jr., Sean McComb for the, what belt was it again? Was it for a belt? WBO Intercontinental Super Lightweight Title, yep. Oh, there you go. So Barboza Jr. was undefeated. Having said that, let's wait for the decision, shall we? All right. So it's been a big card too. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 fights on the card today, the whole card. So McComb ended up with a cut on his right eye, but fought very, very well. As the advertisement for Fury and Usyk comes up, May the 18th. So we've got a month to go. Will we get there? All right. Who won that, guys? If you're watching, do you agree with the commentators? And Canelo Munguia, May the 4th. Going to be a great fight. All right. Thank you to the person that gave me the thumbs down too. I hope you have a nice day. If it made you feel better about yourself, good on you, buddy. All right. So Barboza Jr. No, he looks a bit down in the dumps in the corner. I think he realised he's lost the fight. McComb's got the Irish flag up. He's very confident he's done enough to win the fight. All right. Keep the comments going there, guys. In the meantime, we've got the decision. Let's hope it's not too much of a lull in between fights. Normally they get them on pretty quick because I think they'll want the main event walking to the ring by 2 o'clock. So these guys should be out of here by about 10:02. So that probably works in really well. They don't muck around normally with the broadcasters here. So the other fights today, so they haven't updated them all, but Charles Conwell with a 6-round stoppage of Nathaniel Gallimore, Sergey Derevianchenko with a unanimous decision over Vaughn Alexander. That looks like the only... Actually, I'll get on to the results. I'll have all the results up. All right. I haven't been watching it all day, guys. All right, so we're going to go to the scorecards. $98.92 McComb. $96.94 Barboza. $97.93. Oh, Barboza is won by split decision. Wow. That is bizarre. And you got the commentators who pretty much gave all but 2 rounds to McComb. And the body language. Barboza was just resigned to the fact he'd lost. And McComb, understandably, is in a state of shock. Wow. Another comment there from John. Liam Wilson, Jalen Tate next. Yeah, good call. Well, I did have a conversation with Glenn Jennings over in Vegas, John, and he said there's a couple of really juicy matchups for Liam Wilson back in Australia. So that would make sense. That's a ripper fight. Dangerous fight, though. Jalen Tate can fight. Had a bit of a scare in his last one, but he can fight, no doubt about it. So it's an interesting one, but maybe that's what Liam Wilson thinks he has to do. I can't believe that result. Wow. The crowd are booing. He did not win that fight. All right, so I'm just looking through. Okay, yeah, all right. So that's the early prelims. Wow, that is crazy. Anyway, I'm sure we'll hear all about it. All right, so that is it for the undercard. Only one thing left, and that is for Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney to enter the ring as Barboza exits the ring. That I'm sure we're going to hear a lot about that fight. Wow. So he moves to... What is he there? He'll move to 30-0. And McComb will drop to 18-2. Wow. Who would you want to see him fight there, John? Anyone else you can think of for Liam Wilson? From what I saw there, I just don't see how McComb lost that fight. Every time I was watching it, he was having the better of the exchanges. So Adam wins that heavyweight bloke that Simon Glenn Jennings fighting next. Can't remember his name. That was what was his name? Let's have a look. I'll look at Glenn's. That was a ripper knockout though, wasn't it? That last fight he had. Where's Glenn? We'll see if I can find. He put a recent social media post up, I think. All right. See if I can find him there, mate. I know it was... That's the thing. Glenn put up a post the other day about Charlo invoking his right to the Madrimov shot. That was only yesterday, so who knows? All right, let's see. Is that him? Brendan Grutch is his name, Adam. Yes, there you go. Grutch is his name. So Glenn's got a fair old stable of fighters now. So he's obviously got Amber Amelia as well. It's funny. Always sort of when I talk to Glenn, I sort of joke about it that I spoke to him just when I think he'd signed Nikita. And at that time, he only had Tim. That was it. He had one fighter. And then it was Nikita, obviously. And then Shannon O'Connell jumped on board. And then all of a sudden, there's a whole stable now. And I remember at the time thinking, he's probably done that part of his life. And now all of a sudden, he's got the fight life management. And he's got a stable of fighters. But, I mean, he does a great job. And if you've never met Glenn, you will not find a nicer guy in boxing. He really is. He is an absolute champion. Always has time to talk. When we're in Vegas, I was having a Coke with D-Style from the States. He's got his own YouTube show, so check that out, D-Style Boxing. Just having a Coke with him. And Glenn just come up and sat down and had a Coke with us and told us everything that was going on with the camp and with the fights, and just a great guy. And most of the time he'll actually send me a message, say, hey, if you want me to come on, I'm happy to come on. It's just that type of guy. So absolute champion is Glenn. James Brown. How are you, James? Good afternoon to you too. Colin says, be surprised if the judges will be required for the main event. Possibly should be wearing white coats. Come on, Colin. Keep the faith, mate. Keep the faith. I'm sure we'll get a great fight. I usually buy every fight and watch in silence, but I'm definitely not giving any money to a home like Garcia. A joke. Is that what it's supposed to be? A joke like Garcia. Come on, James. Again, have a little bit of faith there, mate. Look, I must admit, I've been really looking forward to this fight. I've hated the lead up to it. I've hated all the antics, and from both fighters, Devin Haney's no angel either. I can tell you with some of the things he's done, especially his dad, more so his dad. But I know Ryan Garcia's been the main instigator. But the fight itself, these are two super hot superstar fighters. Super hot. I mean that in the terms of their career, and the stature in the sport. And this is, take all that other stuff away. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia is probably one of the biggest fights in the sport for interest and probably buy. I'm not sure what it'll do pay-per-view buys. I've got a feeling, if anything, the behaviour of the guys during has actually turned people off buying the show rather than wanting. I mean, you look at last year with Haney and Lomachenko. That was a massive fight, and I think it did really good pay-per-views as well because it was a great fight between two great fighters. And that's what we've been missing in this. We've sort of got the whole Ryan Garcia circus on the side, but you break it all down and put that stuff aside. These are two like literal superstars of the sport in a big fight, and I'm certainly not going to complain, having these type of fights. All right, so we've probably got about 10 minutes, I reckon. 8 to 9, maybe 10 minutes. All right, any other questions before we start there, guys, or comments? Make sure you put it in the chat. And we can sort out who you guys think are going to win. I think 99% of you will probably say Haney, but Garcia is in with a chance. I'm not sure whether anyone had an opportunity to watch one of their amateur fights. I saw one of them the other day somewhere. I can't remember where it was. It was one of the amateur fights, and it was so close. Haney ended up getting the win. They went three wins each, of course. But hang on, I'll take that off there. But the fight itself, you could sort of see, I know, again, they're only amateurs, and it was probably about 8 or 9 years ago, whatever it might, I can't remember. I didn't even say on there, but it was a super close fight. The style-wise, I always thought that Garcia's style would be absolutely custom-made for Haney, but you could sort of see that the fighting then, you could see the way they fight now. It's pretty much exactly the same, but in an amateur form, of course. It was really fast-paced. Both of them barely let up. Haney actually stood his ground and let punches go. But Ryan Garcia went with him, and it was a really, really even fight. So I think, of course, 3 rounds is not 12 rounds. I get that. But style-wise and everything and talent-wise, they looked very, very close. That's probably why I think it might be a little bit closer than what people think. And I say that as well, they've got the documentary on at the moment that was on DAZN with both these guys. And you see Haney in the supermarket talking with the guy, super generous, super polite and humble. And then you see Garcia at looks like a school or something. Is that same thing? But then when you get them together, they just lose all touch of reality, don't they? So John says, I feel like something weird is going to happen, to be honest. Well, that's why we're all here, isn't it, John? We'll see. Will give us a guide on how good Davis is. Yeah, it will. Well, Garcia had some success against Davis. It wasn't until, what did it get stopped? 7th round, I think it was. And obviously chopped him down with body shots as they're interviewing Tyson Fury. He looks in pretty good nick there. Yeah, it will. Different styles, though, Andrew. Different styles. I won't say it's all 100% based on that, but yeah, you're right. If Haney, by rights, even though Davis is more of a puncher than Haney, you would still expect Haney to be able to chop Garcia down, whether it's body shots or head shots or whatever it might be, an accumulation of shots. You would still expect him to chop him down. So I'm with you. It'd be interesting to see if Haney can replicate what Gervonta Davis did. All right, Garcia to quit on his stool at about 3/4 distance. Well, again, we'll see. Haney will win by disqualification. Now, I'm not going to argue with that, Savat, because that quite possibly could happen. All right, so if you're not watching the telecast, they're I don't know why, but they're in Las Vegas at the moment, even though this fight is in New York. I'm not sure why they put it in New York either. I did hear it's because of Canelo and Munguia only being 2 weeks later, but it just doesn't make sense to me. 2 West Coast fighters with big supporter bases, and they put it in New York. It's a promo for Canelo and Munguia. But they put it in New York. All those people back from the West Coast who would want to go, do you really think they would have risked airfares and hotels and all this sort of stuff to get over to New York with the way Ryan was carrying on? It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I would have thought the Staples Center or whatever it's called these days would have been the ideal location for this fight. It's a great stadium there. Of course, Oscar's fought there, plus numerous others. It's a big stadium, and LA fans are very, very passionate. So looking at the schedule coming up, so May the 4th on DAZN, Canelo Munguia. May the 18th is Fury and Usyk, and June 29th is Estrada Rodriguez. So some really good fights coming up. All right. All right, so that's it. Yeah, as I said, it's been a big day of fights. All right. Any other predictions, guys? Let me know. All right. Well, I think we're getting very close. I've got the boys on the top of the Empire State Building at the moment of what happened the other day. I'm really interested to see what sort of shape Garcia is. We all know we're hoping he's all right mentally, but what he's like physically. Because he didn't look like he'd cut weight, or it's really hard. He looked nice and healthy the whole way through. And all the clips that we've seen on him are all the ones where he's doing really abnormal type of things. We know Haney's down the line and it's all the usual stuff, but Haney's, Garcia, he's been a little bit askew with him with his training methods. So maybe, hopefully, behind closed doors, he's been really putting in the hard work. All right, so I think we're getting very close, guys. They're up with the commentators now. Sean Porter, Clarissa Shields. Yeah, I can't really take her, but Sean Porter obviously knows what he's doing. Looking very dapper, Sean Porter in the suit. All right, so what are we, about 2 minutes to 2 o'clock here in Australia in the afternoon. Both boys on the screen waiting to come out. And if anything, Garcia looks a little bit nervous at the moment. Geez, that guy behind him's got a bit of size about him. It's looking a little bit, he's looking very calm, that's for sure, very subdued, but is it nerves? Because he, I don't know whether it's just a quiet confidence or determination, but no emotion at all. Well, all right, quick one there from Colin. Any quick thoughts where Virgil or Tszyu Jr. fits into the mix at present? Yeah, well, there's another one, Colin. You think health-wise he's now 100%. Now, he's actually returning very soon, Colin. I saw Oscar De La Hoya say that the other. It might even be in a week or two, I think he's back. Hang on, let me have a quick look. I think he's... Oh, hang on. Virgil Ortiz. No, hang on. Virgil. All right, so no, it's not on Box Rec, but I'm pretty sure he's fighting in another week or so. And if he's fit and healthy, Colin, he could be another one thrown in the mix, not just because of his ability, but the fact he's got Oscar De La Hoya behind him. And he's another one, again, it's all political. He gets thrown in the mix, and all of a sudden, it probably sort of highlights a little bit that maybe Tim, as Ryan Garcia starts praying, that maybe should have agreed to a 1 or 2 fight agreement with PBC. Oh, who knows? Who knows what goes on behind closed doors? But Andrew, I'm with you there, mate. Hope Garcia lands left hook early. Yeah, I'm with you there, mate. Let's hope we see that and just see what happens. I think because it's all just a bit, Haney's going to do this and do that and have a nice easy night. I want to see a bit of drama, something a little from left field. And Bill Haney, or should I say Don King, did his best Don King impersonation during the week with the flags. Yeah. He's looking very, I don't know, if you're watching this on your stream there, guys, what do you make of Ryan? He looks very, is it calm or is it determined? Is it nervous? For me, I think he looks like he's really, well, I don't know. He almost looks a bit fragile there as well. I don't know. Who knows? Only he knows what's going through his head, doesn't he? All right. So the scores of that last fight, by the way, 98-92 for McComb. So 8 rounds to 2. And the other 2 judges went for Barboza. One 7 rounds to 3, one 6 rounds to 4. So how do you get one judge has it 8 rounds to 2 for McComb, and the other one has it 7 rounds to 3 for Barboza? That shows where we're at with judging in the world at the moment, not just America or Australia or wherever. That just does not make sense. And okay, the one in the middle that was 96-94, well, that's probably more like it somewhere in the middle. But when you've got 2 judges pretty literally swap sides, not by a round or 2. One had McComb winning by 6 rounds, and the other one had Barboza winning by 4 rounds. Just does not make sense. So the records now, McComb 18-2, Barboza 30-0. Only 11 knockouts though, and McComb only had 5 knockouts. All right, well, they're actually interviewing Devin Haney now. I'm assuming it was from earlier in the night. You would hope so, considering he's about to make his ring walk. Now, guys, before we start, I'm going to refill my water bottle. I'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, we're back. All right. There you go. I'll leave and the viewership goes up. There you go, eh? All right, guys, what do we got? Garcia praying. I think he needs all the help he can get. That's St Kilda 1, 2, 3. So the tail of the tape, 25 years of age. Haney, 5'8". Garcia, 5'9.5". Weight, 140, 143.2 for Garcia. And reach is surprisingly in Devin Haney's advantage, 72 inches to Ryan Garcia's 70 inches. So there you go. So he's got 1.5 inches in height, but it's actually 2 inches less in reach. Colin, yeah, Virgil Ortiz versus Thomas Dulommi, April 27. Yeah, I thought that was the case, mate. Thanks for confirming that. All right, so we are about to start the ring walk. The commentators or the announcer is introducing the boys now. And, of course, there's that Oscar at the back there. Got to make sure he's on TV. And Bernard. All right, Ryan Garcia about to make his ring entrance. Let's see what type of shape he's in. He looks very determined. All right. Looks like a pretty good crowd there as well. There's obviously some fears that the ticket sales weren't going great, but definitely looks like a full house. This is probably the best time here at the fights. When the lights go down and they start playing the highlight reels. See it right there? Yep. Especially the top ranked one. The top ranked one's probably the best. All right. This should tell a little bit of a tale, I think, is when Ryan gets in the ring. So at the Barclays Center in New York, there he is on screen at the moment. And here he comes. As he puts the crown on his head. All right, so on the DAZN app with the Who's Going to Win, Ryan Garcia, 57%. Devin Haney, 43%. That's on the fan zone, on the DAZN app. So 57% think Ryan Garcia is going to win the fight and 43% for Devin Haney. Let us know who you guys think, guys. Put it in the chat there. Here he comes. James. Let's see Bill Haney and Hopkins. Yeah, well, that could be the swing bout, couldn't it, after the fight, if it doesn't go all their way. I just don't get how Bill Haney even has the nerve to even, put himself in front of Bernard Hopkins. I mean, obviously he knows nothing's going to happen. They're going to be separated, so you can be as brave as you want when people are right in the middle of you. But I think Bill Haney sometimes needs to stay in his lane, as they say. All right. Yeah, it looks like a lot of support for Ryan in New York as well. And I got to say, he looks pretty good, Ryan. He looks ready to go. Be interesting to see what he weighs getting in the ring at the moment. If he weighed 143, I'm guessing 160, maybe even up to 165. Now, I wish I could probably do a poll on here, guys. I think there is a way. I won't try and do it now, but I'm interested to see who you guys think will win. Looks very confident, does Ryan, as he hands off the crown. And in he gets into the ring, the Barclays Center, all dressed in, is it white or silver? Bit of both. And Derek James in his corner. All right, Devin Haney about to make his ring walk. The WBC 140-pound title. So again, the 140-pound title is not on the line for Ryan Garcia. So if he wins, he will not win the belt. But I think in fights like this, it doesn't really matter if there's a title at stake. I think the biggest fights don't need titles. Devin Haney, 31-0. And Ryan Garcia, 24-1. He hasn't got a lot of knockout highlights as Devin Haney, but they've managed to scrape a few together there. Ryan Garcia's definitely obviously had the better knockout videos. Here he comes with the Prime necklace. Obviously got a endorsement deal with Prime Drinks. Bill Haney's dad with the WBC belt over his shoulder. Looks like a pretty basic kit as well. He's got the plain grey, looks like a hoodie on, and he had the plain grey trunks on. So again, guys, put your predictions in the chat. Let's see who you think will win. I'm going to say Devin Haney by unanimous decision. Tara, who you got? Tara's got Ryan Garcia by knockout.
I think that bad knockout. Wishful thinking.
Yeah, wishful thinking. He's been a great champion, Devin Haney. He's obviously had the 2 wins over George Kambosos, backed it up with a win over Lomachenko, and then, of course, Prograis, and now fighting Ryan Garcia. So he says he wants to be great, and to become great, you have to beat other great fighters, well, very, very good fighters. And that's one thing Devin Haney's doing at the moment. He's fighting good fighters at the right time. So I can't hear the music he's coming out to because plenty of smoke anyway. All right, so Devin Haney about to enter the ring. Bill Haney goes first with the WBC belt. Holds it aloft, and there is Devin Haney. And he hops into the ring. Couple of words as he goes past Ryan Garcia, I think there was. Brushes past Bernard Hopkins. So last fight, December 9th, 2023, with that win over Regis Prograis for the belt. And that's one good thing about him as well. He has been active. Fights twice a year. And always comes in shape, ready to go. And how he made lightweight, I'll never know. Only a year ago. But because apparently he goes up to about 160, 165 when he fights. And he was weighing in at 135. So it's at 25 to 30 pounds every time. So you're looking at, about 13 to 14 kilos. That's a lot of weight to put on in a day. All right, here we go. The announcements. There's the king. He looks big, does Ryan Garcia, compared to Haney, even though the weight will be probably similar. Pretty sure he just said that was for the WBC Championship of the World, which obviously it's not. Derek James with the word in Garcia's ear. Probably just trying to keep him nice and grounded and settled. Both fighters looking ready to go. Right, so the judges, Max DeLuca, Eric Marlinsky, and Robin Taylor, all from New York. The referee is Harvey Dock, who is a very good referee. Make some noise, says the announcer. Geez, I've never heard that before. Seems to be the catch cry of all the commentators these days. It's Ryan Garcia being announced. Here we go. (24-1), 20 KOs from Victorville, California. Yep, King Ryan Garcia. And looks ready to go. No theatrics. He's just ready for business. Sounds like there's a lot of fans there for him as well. All right, what's that, James? Oh, mate. Garcia, chin in the air, opposite hand down when he throws and lacking footwork. Haney, the ultimate professional. Well, the thing is, James, all he needs to do is land that hook, doesn't he? And that's all it takes. Undefeated 140-pound WBC champion. Devin the Dream Haney. Here we go, guys, as they go to the center of the ring for the face-off. This is the last opportunity for any theatrics, so let's hope we get through that, and then the fight starts. Here we go. They touch gloves, and we're ready for round one. What will the first couple of rounds entail? All right. Here we go. And the bell rings. Let's do it. Round number one. Haney on the move. Ryan takes center ring. And he looks so much bigger, does Garcia. Yeah. Nice and composed Garcia. And so is Haney on the back foot, exchanging jabs at the moment. Yeah, and oh, nice hook. Haney's rocked with a left hook. That left hook that we spoke about. That left hook landed flush. He was confident he'd get him out of there. And I don't know why Haney's is exchanging with him. I'd be on the move. Garcia, very dangerous early, but he landed a beautiful left hook. That's obviously the punch they're looking for. Another one. He's got Haney rocked. 1:15 into the first round. We haven't seen this from Haney before. Haney doing his best to hold at the moment, but I don't know why Haney's standing in front of him. And Garcia looks nice and relaxed. He's not rushing it, looking for his range. It was a beautiful left hook he landed. Just over a minute to go in round number 1. Haney looks like he's got his senses back at the moment. He comes back with his own left hook. And remember, guys, these two fought 6 times the amateurs, 3 times each. They won. So obviously very, very evenly matched. So Garcia now on the back foot, which is smart because you can obviously see that Devin Haney is recovered. So there's no sort of wailing away and risking getting caught yourself. He's probably done enough to win the round anyway. So 20 seconds to go in the round. And Haney coming forward. But as I said, I think Ryan Garcia fighting smart, not trying to take him out there. He's had him hurt. He's won the round. And throws another hook that just misses lands on the glove. So a good first round there. Definitely a Ryan Garcia round. He landed that beautiful left hook. To Haney's credit, he sucked it up and came back and had his own moments later in the round, but definitely a Ryan Garcia round. Well, Benjamin Davis, you were pretty confident at the start there. That was a third round knockout. So, and it looks like he has the ice on his right eye. So obviously maybe from that left hook that he took. So for me, round 1 for Ryan Garcia. They're showing the replay now. Just snuck inside the right hand. It wasn't, Haney didn't really do anything wrong. He had the right hand up, but he just snuck in between it. And a beautiful left. I don't know how he didn't go down. That was a beautiful left hook. All right, round number 2. Here we go. And Haney starts as the aggressor. But I just like the way Ryan's fighting at the moment. He's not getting too emotional, not throwing unnecessary punches. He's fighting a very smart fight, as the referee warns them both for their conduct. But and look, Haney's been good as well, and he's now being the aggressor. But I really like that Ryan is being patient and just waiting for an opportunity to land that hook. Let's just hope he doesn't wait too long. Now he's had success with it. Sometimes people, they just wait for that one punch that doesn't come. Let's hope he starts throwing some other punches as well. But just a good, even fight so far. That round, power punches. Haney threw 5, landed 0. Garcia threw 23 and landed 9. And Haney looks like he took offense to that first round with that left hook, and now he's the aggressor. But Ryan, again, being nice and composed. I wouldn't mind just seeing Ryan set up that left hook a little bit more, even just with a jab or something. He's just sort of throwing it, which is pretty easy to read by Haney. And it's interesting this round that Haney is the one coming forward and Garcia backing up, although having said that, good right hand from Haney there. Seems to be finding his range a little bit. So we've got a minute to go in round number 2. And probably Haney's round so far. Ryan hasn't really thrown a lot. And as I said, I just hope he doesn't fall into the trap of just looking for that one punch. Because Haney will be busy. All right, as they clinch. A headlock by Garcia. Bit of rough stuff in there at the moment, but Haney giving as good as he's getting at the moment. So 10 seconds to go, round number 2. Good round for Haney, I think. He's been the busier. All right, round number 2 down. That's a round each for me. I just thought Ryan was a little bit reactive in that round. Haney was very proactive, took center ring, jab to the head, jab to the body, and looked for that right hand. And Ryan was just looking for that left hook a little bit too much. So I'm hoping that maybe Derek James says, Ryan, you've got to start using the jab a bit more. Even that right hand to set up the left hook, because he was just looking for that lead left hook. And Haney's such a good fighter. He's going to be able to read that every time. So even as I said, just a little bit of a decoy right hand and then whip the left hand in after that, or even just a jab and then the hook after that. But I think he needs to do something to stop, telegraphing that left hook. All right, we're pretty silent in the chat there at the moment, guys. I'm assuming we're all engrossed in the fight. Let us know what you thought. I'm thinking 1 round apiece at the moment. All right, here we go. Round number 3. Great fight so far. Very, very even fight. Haney in the white. Haney in the grey. Garcia in the white and silver, looks like. So Garcia a little bit busy this round. Yeah, trying to rough Haney up a little bit. But geez, he's just so balanced, Haney is. So poised, lightning quick with those punches. It just looks like already that he started to read that left hook really well. Whoa. Big swing and a miss from the hook there with Garcia. As I said, I'd like to see him to set it up a little bit better. All right, so jabs through round 2. Haney throwing 31, landed 16. Garcia only thrown 8 jabs and landed 1. They're getting warned by the referee at the moment, both fighters, for a bit of rough stuff. As we're halfway through round number 3. And both fighters having good success. Haney lands a bit of a left hook there that just sort of brushed by, but the referee warning Haney again. So it's actually Haney being warned for the rough stuff at the moment. Oh, nice hook by Haney. And Garcia says, let's go, let's bring it. So will this work into Garcia's hands, though, with Haney landing one and now coming forward trying to land the bombs on Garcia? It leaves him open for that hook as well. He lands another hook, having success in this round. All right, so 30 seconds to go in round number 3. I think Haney's had the better of this round as well. That really good left hook he landed almost squares him up for that first round. Ten seconds to go. And there's the bell for round number 3. Now, look, it's been a really, really even fight so far, both having some really good moments. But I just think Devin Haney's done enough in the last 2 rounds just to take the rounds. There's got to be a winner and a loser in each round, even though they've been very, very close and even. But I think Haney's definitely won the last 2 rounds. So in Haney's corner, of course, his dad, Bill Sr., his trainer, Bob Ware, his cut man, Daryl Flanagan, and Rodney Chrysler make up his corner. So Garcia landed a good right on the back of the ear of Haney, and he did point to it in the corner. But then A nice left hook. I think Ryan was more, not embarrassed, but just a bit pissed at himself that he got caught because he dropped the right hand and just got clipped with a left hook and was more, I think, angry with himself rather than anything. So round number 4. And Haney starts, Garcia starts as the aggressor. And that was good. He threw a jab and then followed it with a hook. He's sort of going a little bit of the Philly shell at the moment, is Ryan Garcia, which is a little bit odd. And it's Haney coming forward. 1 minute into the 4th round. Just seems to be rushing his punches a little bit, Garcia. He's just telegraphing them a little bit. He's sort of loading up on every punch. He's not really throwing any jabs or anything to set the punches up as Haney lands a left hook on the glove. Well, if he boxes the way he is at the moment, Andy, he probably should box to a decision. But all 3 rounds have been pretty even. As a referee brings both fighters in and warns them to cut out the rough stuff. Just seems like Garcia's just every punch he's throwing as he takes another left hook is just he's trying to bomb Haney out with every punch. He just needs to set it up. There's a good right hand there though. So we're just over halfway through round number 4. But I will say so far, really impressed with what Garcia has brung. With all the lead up to the fight, he's actually come to fight and looks like he's ready to go. And doing well this round as well, by the way. So 50 seconds to go. I think this round is still up in the air. And it's Ryan on the back foot here, boxing Devin Haney, who's been the aggressor. It's not something we thought we'd see. It's not, I wouldn't have thought overly smart from Garcia, because if the judges are looking for any reason to give someone a round, this is it. 10 seconds to go, round number 4. Tough round to score. Oh, it's a tough one, guys. Look, I suppose you probably maybe have to lean towards Haney, but I wouldn't be surprised if that one went to Garcia. I suppose I've got to give it to someone. Let's square it up at 2 rounds apiece. I'm not sure. That was a really, really tough one. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 3 rounds to 1 for Haney, but I thought Garcia had a little bit of success early, so we'll call it 2 rounds apiece. How have we got it out there, guys? What do you think? All right, but he looks pretty good in the corner, does Garcia. He looks like he's listening to his coach, Derek James. Looks nice and composed. Looks like he's not gassing or anything. And Devin Haney, as always, just nice and composed. Ready to go for round number 5. Colin has it the same as me, 2-2. But anything's possible, as we saw from the last fight. So again, Devin Haney takes center ring. Yes, yep. Garcia with some good punches thrown there. Not many land though. All right, the scorecard. So the commentators have it 39-37, so 3 rounds to 1 for Haney. as I said, that's probably the way I would maybe picture it with the judges, but we'll call it sort of even at the moment. But yeah, 39-37 would probably be most likely how the judges all have it, I would say. And Haney lands a good counter right hand there. Just Ryan just getting a little bit wild. He's just leading with hooks and uppercuts and this sort of stuff. And it's just with a sharpshooter like Haney, he's gonna tag you every time. And Garcia's shown he can land. I just want to see him set it up a little bit better rather than lead with uppercuts and hooks. And again, Haney is the aggressor and is Ryan on the back foot. As we're halfway through round number 5. Jab to the body from Haney. I just want to see Ryan maybe come forward a little bit more, be a little bit busier. It's not like he's been outclassed, I think, by Haney so far. He's just not been busy enough and allowing Haney to sort of dictate a little bit too much. And when he does punch, he's leading too much with those, as I said, those lead uppercuts and hooks, which leaves him open to those counters. It's definitely nice and rough in there at the moment. Plenty of clinches, plenty of wrestling. The referee's having his work cut out for him and earning his money. So 35 seconds to go in round number 5. And Haney lands a right hand as Ryan clinches. And I think this is another round for Devin Haney. He just seems to have found his range. Not to say he's won any of the rounds big, but just doing enough each round to take the points. And that is the end of round 5, guys. So, look, that was a Haney round. I think he'd be 3-2, if not 4-1 at this stage. I think we're almost at the point where Ryan's got to really let those bombs go. He hasn't really had any success apart from that first round by the tactics he's using. I'm not sure why he's backing up and allowing Haney to push him back, because he seems obviously more potent when he's coming forward. And to be backing up, it sort of negates him. And Haney's such a good reader of punches as well. So, yeah, Colin, 3-2 Haney. Yep, I would probably agree. If not 4-1, mate. But there's in the crowd, there's Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Bernard Hopkins, of course. I see Vin Diesel at the back there. Roy Jones Jr. One of the greatest of all time. All right, round number 6. Let's do it. As Ryan starts coming forward to start the round. He's just having all sorts of trouble penetrating Haney. Oh, there's some good punches there. Ryan Garcia opens up. I don't think he's really landed anything of note, but he's definitely given Haney a nice welcome to start round number 6. Some good punches thrown there. The timeout. Yep, I thought he was going to maybe take a point there, but just separating the guys. And now Garcia goes on the back foot as Haney starts to come forward. But really good opening combinations from Ryan Garcia. And this is probably where I'm not quite sure what Ryan's doing, because he starts around okay as he makes Devin miss a wild left hook. He just fights the first minute and then tends to get on the back foot and allows Haney to come forward. And it's just not the game plan I would think that's going to win in this fight. Unless he's trying to draw Devin in to land that left hook, but I just think Devin's way too smart. And more importantly, when he's on the back foot, he's not throwing punches. And, yeah, Devin warned for hitting on the back, although Ryan did turn his back. So we have just over a minute to go in round number 6, so the halfway point of the fight. And even though Devin's coming forward in this round, I still think Ryan's first minute has done enough to give him the round so far. So again, Ryan on the back foot. He needs to be punching when he's doing this, though. He's not active at all, and he's just allowing Devin to hunt him down. And again, if the rounds are close, these are the things the judges look for. Who's being the aggressor? It's not like Devin's really doing anything, but again, the judges look for a reason. I still think we've got 10 seconds to go in round number 6. Just based on that first minute alone, I would give this round to Ryan because all Devin really did was chase him down and didn't really land anything of note. So I'm going to give that round to Ryan Garcia just based on that first round, which would make it 3-3. But again, playing devil's advocate, it might be 4-2 with the judges, but I'm going to say 3-3. What's that, Colin? Haney using the same tactic he did with the Cambosas fights, jabbing and clinching. The only difference with this one, though, Colin, he's actually coming forward a lot. But very, very similar. I don't think it's been a spectacular performance by either fight. It's been very, very even. I think both have had success in different ways. And the highlights there when Ryan Garcia landed a right hand, left hook, and then followed up with some really good punches. Not a lot of them really landed, but that alone, I think, was enough to take the round. And Colin, yep, you got it 3-3. And James, yes, is Garcia doing his strange shoulder roll? Well, that's what you want to call it, James. It's sort of the shoulder roll, but he does really turn his back. And Haney did get warned for hitting on the back of the of Garcia, but I think it was Ryan who actually contributed to it a lot by turning. All right, round number 7. So guys, we've got about 45 people watching at the moment. Hit the like and subscribe. Always helps. And a quick reminder, we will be doing the Nikita Tszyu fights on Wednesday from 7 p.m. And Ryan, yeah, starting to throw that left hook. And look, Devin looks like he's just slowed down just a tad. And that will obviously make it a little bit easier for Ryan to land that hook. And he's having success in this round so far. Some good punches being thrown. Nice. And a left hook puts Haney down. And it scored a knockdown. A left hook drops Devin Haney. And he looks shaky on his feet. We've got 2 minutes to go in the 7th round. I don't know why the referee's given him so much time. But he was rocked and dropped with a left hook. He's in trouble as Ryan goes for it. And Devin's not clinching. He's trying to run. Now he holds. Big round for Ryan Garcia. It's the last thing he needed to do. He hit on the break. Now Haney goes to a neutral corner and it is a point taken off Ryan Garcia. This is a thing we were worried about. He had Devin Haney hurt and he's just dropped a point and given Devin Haney time to rest. Having said that, though, Devin still looks hurt. He's still holding on. I don't know why he'd do it. And Haney looks like he's down again. No knockdown. No knockdown, although it looked like it. He's on unsteady legs, though, is Devin Haney. Just over halfway through round number 7. And Ryan is going for it. He has Haney in the corner. Landing the shots. Haney can't hold. Ryan's just brushing him off. He goes down again. No knockdown. See, this is another tactic. I think if he goes down deliberately again, it should be a point. It's a bit like spitting your mouth guard out. He gets a 10-second rest. And Ryan Garcia going for it. And you nailed it there, Andy. Uh-oh, if you're a Devin Haney supporter. Because he has been rocked. And Ryan Garcia, with 45 seconds to go, has found another leg. throwing good shots. He's just lining up those shots. He's not throwing unnecessary punches. Devin Haney tried to throw an overhand right in retaliation there, and Garcia easily rolled it and come back with his own right hand. 25 seconds to go. Round number 7. A big round for Ryan Garcia. But will that point deduction take away the advantage of winning that round 10-8? So it says there's 16 seconds, but they just tapped for 10 seconds. So I'm not sure what happened there. And that is, well, I was going to say a 10-8 round for Ryan Garcia, but he's had a point taken off. It is a 10-point must, though, so I'm not sure whether that makes it a 10-9 round. Or every commission's a little bit different, but massive round for Ryan Garcia. And it showed twice so far that he can hurt Devin Haney and hurt him bad, and not just hurt him, he put him down. And if it wasn't for the point deduction that gave Devin Haney probably 20 seconds, maybe a little bit more, then Devin Haney going down himself, there was another probably 20 seconds. Beautiful left hook. And look, it goes to what I've been saying the whole fight. He needs to throw punches to set up that hook. And on that occasion, he threw the jab, then threw the left hook and landed it beautifully. So if I was in Ryan Garcia's corner, I'd be saying, Ryan, just a right hand left hook or a jab left hook. And he's shown he can land. And then he throws that right hand blatantly on the break. Just silly. Really silly. And Jack says, I heard Tszyu from Adelaide when Haney went down. Yep. It'll be 9-8 Garcia. But isn't it a 10-point must system? Anyway, it'll come out in the wash. Either way, he's lost a point. Garcia starts again. And look, doesn't look like Devin Haney's actually recovered that well from the knockdown. So the commentators have it 66-65. Yeah, 9-8. You're right there. 9-8 for Garcia in that round. But it would have been an even fight if he hadn't had the point deduction. So let's hope that's not the deciding factor. And tell you, Ryan Garcia has found his range. Devin Haney backing up, and we're only in round number 8. There's a long time to go in this fight. Ryan doesn't look gassed or fatigued. If anyone does, it's Devin Haney. I don't know why. Yeah, he's turning his back. He's not getting warned for it. Just got to be careful, Ryan. He doesn't do anything else stupid like in the last round. If that point costs him the fight, it'll just be just a tragedy for him. He's fought such a great fight so far, and so has Devin Haney, I will say. But for all those that said that this would be a one-sided fight for Devin Haney, well, they're going to have to apologise after the fight. So far, we're only 8 rounds in, of course, and we've got 1 minute and 15 seconds to go. Now, Devin Haney comes forward, but Ryan Garcia doing a really good job holding him, clinching, rolling the shoulder. Just a really good performance from Ryan Garcia so far. And Devin Haney, of course, who's still probably winning the fight. Another even round as we have 1 minute to go in the 8th round. And the pace of the fight has been fantastic as well. And Ryan looking very, very confident. Devin Haney now trying to back him up. So 30 seconds to go. I just don't like this when Ryan backs up and doesn't throw punches and almost allows Devin Haney to dictate the pace. You've got to remember, Devin Haney looks like he's really feeling the pace at the moment, but by allowing him to come forward and dictate it, he's allowing him to rest at the same time. So what do we got? 10 seconds to go. And another really close round. All right, well, look. How have you got it out there? I'm going to say 4 rounds apiece so far. And that round could have went either way. The round before, was it round number 6, could have gone either way. So there's a couple of really close rounds. I'm just going to call it 4 rounds apiece. But having said that, that would put Ryan Garcia in front by a point. I think he's fought a really, really good fight so far. Devin Haney, look, he's being Devin Haney. He's fighting, a good fight as well. But I'm really impressed that Ryan Garcia, after everything, has really turned up to fight, and he's put in a great effort so far. 4 rounds to go though, so still a long way. Andrew says workout finished. Go Garcia. Fought a great fight so far, Andrew. But again, look, I think it's an even fight. Even if it was 5 rounds to 3 for Haney, still means it's only a point the difference going into, or would it be? No, because of the point taken off. So look, either way, I think we've got an even fight after 8 rounds as we start round number 9. And the round starts with Haney on the front foot coming forward. Ryan Garcia looks like he's just trying to draw him in. He puts that left hand out, tries to get Haney close, and then he hooks off that. It's going to be fascinating to see what the judges say if it keeps going this way. So round number 9 of 12. It's not for a title, but if Garcia wins, then all those big fights will be going to him for the time being anyway, not Haney. It's interesting that now Haney is the one really pushing the pace. I know whether Ryan's maybe taking a round off, but it's definitely Haney coming forward, and Ryan content just to clinch and hold at the moment. It gets warned for using the forearm. Does Ryan Garcia. All right, so halfway through round number 9. Yeah, the referee, I think, is working just as hard as what the fighters are. I'd like to see Ryan maybe just try and pick up the pace a little bit, because he's pretty much given this round to Devin Haney so far. Power punches through round number 8. Haney's thrown 72, landed 23. And Garcia's thrown 143, landed 56. Which is probably always going to be the case, wasn't it? That Ryan Garcia would throw a lot more power punches than Devin Haney. But we've got just under a minute to go in round number 9. And look, I think it's been a round for Devin Haney. Jabs through round 8. Haney throwing 70, landed 35 for a 50% success rate. Garcia's only thrown 35 and landed 6 for a 17% work rate. And good left hook there from Devin Haney. I think he's won this round so far with 30 seconds to go. And I'm not that's the referee lets them fight out of there. Ryan turned his back, and Garcia, Haney wailed away. Here comes Haney, Garcia. All right, 10 seconds to go, round number 9. And again, Ryan turns away, and it's probably why the referee's allowing Haney to continue to punch. All right, that's round number 9, guys. I think that was definitely a round for Devin Haney, so I would have it 5 rounds to 4. And let's hope that point deduction doesn't come back to bite Ryan Garcia. It was a silly thing to do. It had him hurt, had him down, and hit on the break. And as I said before, and as Bill Haney has a word to the referee, I think he should be more focused on his son at this stage, because we've got 3 rounds to go. But as I said, that 8th round, he gave him 25 seconds or whatever it was for the point deduction, and then Haney going down twice. You can see there, like the referee allowing Haney to just wail away on the back of Ryan Garcia. Even though Ryan turned his back, the referee should have pulled it up and warned Devin Haney. Anyway, so we're into round number 10. Can't believe it's Garcia is actually competitive. Well, he's been more than competitive, Glenn. I think he's fought a really good fight. Is he in front? No, I don't think so. Although Anything can happen. But it's been a very, very close fight. I got it 5 rounds to 4, but a lot of close rounds. And Ryan Garcia has fought a very, very good fight so far, as of course has Devin Haney. So the scorecards by the judges, they have it 86-83 for Haney. And Garcia, another knockdown. Beautiful left hook. Down goes Devin Haney. Another left hook drops Devin Haney. So let's hope Ryan doesn't give this round away again. We've got 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in round number 10. And Ryan Garcia is on the hunt. He has Devin Haney hurt again. Beautiful left hook. And Haney hanging on for dear life. Let's hope the referee can separate them and give Ryan Garcia a chance to end this fight. Well, you got it there, Andy. You walked in the left hook, all right? What's happening here? Another break in the action. The referee warns both guys and gives Devin Haney 15 seconds break. This could be very controversial after the fight here, guys. Because that's about 4 times in this fight that the referee has allowed Devin Haney plenty of opportunities to get his faculties back. So halfway through round number 10. Big round for Ryan Garcia. Haney lands a good right hand there. But unless something drastic happens in this round, it's going to be a 10-8 round for Ryan Garcia. So I think Devin Haney, if anything, should just accept the fact he's going to lose this round 10-8, but he's coming forward and could be in position to get hit with another left hook from Ryan Garcia, who again is being nice and composed. Is he being too composed? Another left hook from Garcia, and he is hurt. Garcia piling on the punches. 50 seconds to go in round 10. Garcia going for it. Big round for Ryan Garcia. And if he knocks him down again and gets maybe a 10-7 round, then this is going to go right down to the wire. 30 seconds to go in round number 10. Massive round for Ryan Garcia. He's hurt Devin Haney multiple times. He's put him down twice. And you almost, as Tara just said, almost get the impression that Ryan is turning his body to get Haney close, and then he offloads when he gets him close. But a massive round. So that's definitely a 10-8 round for Ryan Garcia, which brings it back to dead even. Maybe even Ryan Garcia in front by a point. But I think in rounds, that's 5 rounds apiece. I just hope that point deduction doesn't come back to hurt Ryan Garcia. All right, Glenn. Wow is an understatement there, mate. Seriously thought Garcia would get himself disqualified. As we watch the replay, so Ryan, it was a right hand, a left hook, and down he went. Beautiful punch. All right, Andy, if Ryan wins this, he should give himself a left hook for not making weight. Yeah. Look, I think no matter what happens from now, I think a lot of people owe Ryan Garcia an apology for, and I might be speaking too early, by the way, but owe him a little bit of an apology for not taking the event seriously and everything else, because so far he's fought a great fight. All right, round number 11. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia. How do you have it? You're right, Andy. It's a Ryan shell, isn't it? Not a Philly shell. All right, so the championship rounds, number 11 of 12. Again, I've got it 5 rounds apiece. The knockdown could possibly put Garcia in front, although he had 1 point taken off for the other knockdown, which pretty much negated the whole knockdown. So again, I think both fighters shown a lot of heart, but Garcia, as I said, I think he's owed an apology by a lot of people after this fight. And Devin Haney's shown a great amount of heart as well, because he's still coming forward after being dropped twice and hurt. And Devin Haney, he looks very spent, which is unlike Devin Haney. And Garcia looks fresh as he opens up again. And Haney hangs on for dear life. He looks really wobbly on his feet at the moment, Devin. Looks like his face is swollen, has the weight cut caught up with him. He's done it hard in a lot of his fights. And in a fight like this where he has to really dig into the trenches, has he got enough downstairs in the ticker department to go with Ryan Garcia, who wouldn't blow out a candle at the moment? He's very, very well conditioned. So we're halfway through round number 11. And I think Ryan Garcia has done enough so far to win this round. Still half the round to go, of course, but Devin Haney looking very, very shaky on his feet at the moment. And very happy to hold Ryan Garcia whenever he gets close. So far, Glenn, troll of the year. Well, we'll see, won't we? Another right hand by Ryan Garcia. And Devin Haney hangs. Oh! Right hand, left hook. Down goes Devin Haney again. A minute to go in round number 11. You can do it, Tara. Come on. Let's go. 50 seconds to go in the round. And I have a feeling here that Ryan Garcia is about to pull off the upset of the decade. Because Devin Haney hanging on for dear life. The referee continues to allow Haney to get a break. So 30 seconds to go. Another 10-8 round for Ryan Garcia. So really, Ryan doesn't really need to do anything more in this round. Again, the referee gives Devin Haney a spell. And Haney does I don't know why he's not hanging on for dear life now, because he's lost around 10-8 regardless of what happens. So, Double G, go Tara. You beauty, says Andrew Williams. We have one round to go. And Glenn, yep, he's fresh because he didn't make weight, but maybe we all got onto him about him not being fussed about not making weight and he's going to be strong and why kill himself to make the last 3 pounds. Well, this is probably why. Money and status and legacy means a hell of a lot more than a green belt, I can tell you. One round to go. Well, I've got it 6 rounds to 5 for Ryan Garcia with 2 knockdowns. I think Ryan Garcia is winning this fight and Devin Haney needs almost a stoppage to win. Having said that, just what a left hook. Right hand, left hook, and down he went. Just has not had the answers. And the thing is, Devin Haney has taken a lot of punishment in this fight. A lot of punishment. And I think so far, Ryan Garcia deserves to win this fight. He's dropped Haney 3 times. What a left hook. 103, 102 Garcia. Well, I wouldn't argue with that there, mate. All right, last round. And in my opinion, Ryan Garcia is he's not going to be the new champion, but he's going to be the new top dog at 140 after this round. And Devin Haney, to his credit. So what have we got there? So they have 103, 102 for Garcia on the telecast. So could it be a draw? And that point again, that 1 point that was deducted, it would have been 2 points in front and on his way to victory. And Ryan Garcia last round looking the stronger man. Devin Haney really feeling the pinch at the moment. Yep, Andy says Dev needs an KO to win. Yep, pushing his getting tagged. If Ryan Garcia, look, he just has to win this last round. And I think he's going to win anyway, but let's just see. 1 minute down in the 12th round. And now we're going to about to see a massive upset or a robbery. Let's see. But either way, great performance from both men. And I think especially Ryan Garcia, who has probably fought the fight of his life so far. And I don't think the belt really means anything to him at this stage. I don't know why he's allowing Haney to push the pace, because Devin Haney looks like he's gassed. Halfway through round number 12. Garcia will get robbed, says Andrew. Well, we'll see. I think Devin Haney, even though he looks absolutely spent at this stage, is doing enough to win the round. I think we've got just over a minute to go, and this fight is up for grabs. And now Ryan starts to put the heat on, and Devin Haney holds on again. The referee's worked hard tonight, separates the fighters. We have 50 seconds to go. And I don't know why Ryan Garcia, unless he thinks he's way ahead on points, he's circling the ring, allowing Devin Haney to come to him. I don't like this. He needs to win the round. Because if he doesn't, he's either going to get a draw or he's going to get robbed. Almost landed the left hook, did Ryan Garcia, with 30 seconds to go. And Ryan's starting the showboat now. Let's worry about winning the round, Ryan. He obviously thinks he's winning the fight. And I still think he's actually won the fight, by the way, guys. But 10 seconds to go. I just hope he hasn't blown this round, which blows the fight. Either a draw or a decision. There it is, guys. We've finished round 12, and regardless of what's happened, hats off to both guys. And as I said earlier, I think a lot of people will owe Ryan Garcia an apology for this fight. I still think he's won the fight. I think it's 6 rounds apiece, and the 2 knockdowns, I think, goes Ryan Garcia's way. However, a lot of those early rounds probably went to Devin Haney, and let's hope he's not robbed. I've got this bad feeling that point deduction might be the difference in the end. Let's hope I'm wrong. James says, I'm voting a robbery due to the ref giving Haney time. Well, that's got to be a talking point after the fight, James, is that the referee, not just giving him time, but also Devin Haney going down by himself and getting another 10 seconds break. A lot of those breaks in there. But look, you got to do what you got to do. The rules are there, or the rules aren't there to enforce that, like spitting out your mouth guard as well. I think that needs to be addressed. But look, a great fight, and it definitely lived up to its billing, isn't it? Just an absolute super fight. Was it 2 or 3 knockdowns? 3 knockdowns, Andrew. A 1-12 draw. Well, that point deduction, I've just got a bad feeling inside about that, guys. Big J, by saying that, Haney was pillow-fisted and a weak chin for years, and now it's proven. Yeah, not a bad point there, Big J. I think for the first time he's come up against a legitimate puncher with talent, and he's been tagged, and definitely has exposed some flaws in Devin Haney. Look, to his credit though, Big J, he got up each time. He got through the whole fight, numerous times being hurt. But I think Ryan Garcia should win this fight. What's that? John Garcia's coach must want to kill Jim. Who's Jim? John? Oh, could be the referee. Yeah. It's how you beat a boxer, hit them, but all irrelevant as Garcia missed weight. Yeah. Well, the commentators have it 1-12, 1-12. Will that point be the deciding factor and we get a draw? John says, acting like you already won, losing focus, not going for the kill, talking to Haney's corner far out. I don't understand the tactics in the last round, John, that Ryan pretty much gave away the last round. Instead of closing the show out, he gave the last round away, gave that point away, and I've just got this bad feeling that that's going to be a telling factor. Here we go. Here we go. Even from the first judge. $114, $110. Here we majority decision. Ryan Garcia wins a majority points decision. Well done, Ryan Garcia. Well done. All things aside, he was a heavy underdog. People thought he wouldn't even make it to the fight. And here we are. He's not the new champion, but he has handed Devin Haney the first loss of his career. And yeah, I 100% think that Ryan Garcia deserved the win. Bill Haney, well, not looking overly humble in the corner. But look, when you get dropped, like I think Big J said there, yeah, when you're dropped 3 times, you can't really expect to win the fight. And full congratulations to Ryan Garcia, who's now, he might not have the belt, but he's now the king of the 140-pound division. And really happy for him. He did what really good fighters do. He showed up, took on one of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world, and beat him in his own game. And full congratulations to Ryan Garcia. Not well done. He missed weight. Well, that's a different story, Big J. That's okay. It's a little bit unprofessional, but I don't. Whatever reasons are there for that. Yes, it's unprofessional, but at the end of the day, he got in there and beat the world champion, mate. So I don't wear that one. Sorry. As far as the fight goes, the belt is only for or the weight is only for the belt, mate. And they both agreed. I'm sure we would have paid Devin Haney $500,000 or $1 million or whatever. So, and Devin Haney didn't have a problem with it. So again, the weight limit's only for the belt. Devin Haney agreed to fight at that weight afterwards. That's stiff. A bit like Tszyu with Fundora the other week. Kept fighting through the cut when he could have easily called it a day. Doesn't matter in the end. Fundora got the win, and Garcia wins his fight. So all them weird antics might have been enough to put Team Haney off the game. Well, it's a good point there, Andy. And it does show how good he was. Let's hear what he has to say. Thanks, Jesus, of course. What do you say? Come on, dog. You really thought I was crazy. Could be the greatest troll of all time. I want to hear all your comments in the chat there, guys. We'll do a bit of a review afterwards. So let's hear what you thought of the fight. Yeah. Tara's reporting there. Mate makes a really good point. He said you all got onto him about all his antics and what he was saying online and forgot that he was a great fighter and was just operating on his own beliefs. Although, having said that, he was a little bit unhinged through the whole thing. But look, I've just got all the admiration in the world for Ryan Garcia. Fantastic performance. Showed everyone what he was capable of. He's now, I think, probably besides Canelo, is the second face of the sport. Take Canelo aside, this guy is now the face of boxing. I think he might not be the best. He might not have a belt, but we're talking the face of boxing and what the broadcasters are going to love. And Oscar De La Hoya there, he'd be rubbing his hands together, thinking, all the money I'm going to make out of this guy going forward. And he stuck by Ryan, and Ryan stuck by him. So, no, I just think it's all around just a fantastic result. And Andrew, I agree with you there. Davis only second pound for pound Crawford. Well, in a way, you got to put in there as well. But as I said, Ryan Garcia might not be one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world, although he just beat one of those. But as I said, I just think as the face of boxing, this guy is it after Canelo. And being very, very humble at the moment is Ryan Garcia. Being respectful, humble, and that's what you want to see. Haney, odds favourite to win for ages until I saw him at the weigh-in. Yeah, he didn't look good, did he, Ben? But he's always been that way, hasn't he? And always come up trumps. So, all right, let's hear from Devin Haney. Yeah. Obviously dejected is Haney. Yeah, I'm with you there, Big J. Finally exposed, but still a great boxer. He is, mate. And there will be a rematch. There'll be a rematch for the belt, I would say. But that's what I said at the start, guys. Like just watching them in the amateurs. I know it's amateurs compared to pros and everything else, but watching them in the amateurs, how evenly Garcia matched up with Haney. That's what just sort of, I still picked Haney to win. I just wasn't as confident as a lot of people out there was. Look, Garcia, just based on that one amateur fight that I saw, just matched up really, really well with Devin Haney, which is why he was obviously confident as well. But just a great performance by Garcia. Yeah. So he's just asked whether he regrets fighting Garcia. He said no. He said I knew what I was doing, and I've still got the belt, and we'll run it back for the actual belt down the line. So look, guys, I just thought overall, we'll just have a quick run over the whole thing and let me know your thoughts. But I thought, look, Ryan Garcia, just right from the word bell, really impressed with the way he entered the ring, the way he started the fight, so composed. Probably gave away a few of the early rounds by being a little bit negative, but when it was time to go, he went and dropped Haney 3 times. And look, I think over the course of the fight, maintained his composure a lot better. Got Devin Haney out of his comfort zone, obviously rocked him, got him second guessing himself. And just that's what it takes. And those great fighters, you have to get them out of their comfort zone and get him, as I said, second guessing themselves. And Ryan Garcia is so impressed with his composure during the fight, took his time, waited for the hook. Even when he dropped Devin Haney, didn't rush in, didn't waste punches, especially early when he knew that Devin Haney probably recovered pretty quick. Didn't waste it. He knew he'd won the round 10-8 and didn't just throw bombs for the sake of it. And I've just got a newfound respect for Ryan Garcia, guys. I just thought he fought a great fight. And obviously his trainer's got a lot to do with that as well, Derek James. Let's hope they stay together. Because if that Ryan Garcia fights anyone else in the division, well, you would back him, wouldn't you, against anyone. I still would love to see him against the likes of Matias. Teofimo Lopez is the fight for me. I would love to see that fight. But we'll see, I suppose. Or we got some comments there, guys. Styles make fights. Certainly do, John. 100% they do. Jay says, a lot of US boxing commentators bag Garcia before this fight. Looks like they will be backtracking come Monday. Yeah, Jay, 100% they will. And as I said, he's now, aside from Canelo, the face of boxing. And still no belt, by the way. But he is an absolute superstar. I know he was before, but now he can be that crossover Oscar De La Hoya type, I think, after that fight. John says Garcia had the speed to get there and the pop to hurt him. Yeah, that's a really good analysis, John. Speed and power. That's the way you beat someone like Devin Haney. Speed and power, and he possessed both. And as I said, it's not just speed and power, but also just the composure and the ability to not waste the punches. You see a lot of fighters when they drop an opponent or hurt them and they just throw from the fence and end up punching themselves out. I was really impressed by Ryan because he just took his time. As I said before, even when he dropped Haney in the third round, he knew that Haney was still fresh, still had a bit, wasn't really hurt. So just took the 10-8 round and moved on. And later in the fight, when he had obviously Haney a little bit more weakened and fatigued, then he actually he poured it on. But I just think, look, just an unbelievable performance from Ryan Garcia. And having said that too, Devin Haney, fantastic performance by him. He's a champion, one of the top 10 pound-for-pound fighters in the sport, or he was. And really impressed by the heart he showed as well. But where does he go going forward? Other opponents have got to look at that and go, well, he's vulnerable. You can hurt him. You can drop him. And I think there might be a few more lining up for Devin Haney now. But I think we'll get Garcia, Haney 2 for the WBC belt next. And what a fight that will be. All right, we'll get a couple more. Yep, thanks for joining in there, Andrew. Pleasure to have you along, mate. John says, how does Para go against Garcia or Haney? Reckon he could get those fights if he wins against Matias? I think 100% he gets that fight, John. I think if Liam beats Matias, I think Garcia and Haney will fight next. But do we then maybe get Teofimo Lopez and the winner of Matias and Para? That's probably the fight I'm probably looking at. So yeah. But like the 154-pound division, John, so many different combinations of fights that we could get. So I don't care who fights who, as long as they fight each other. That's the main thing. Yes, Andy, smash the like button. Really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for that, Glenn. Appreciate you all tuning in. Same to you, Benjamin. Thanks, mate. Big J, remember Garcia had 6 fights to figure out Haney, so massive advantage. Yeah, it is Big J, and that's why I said when we started the broadcast today, even though I did pick Haney to win, I just thought that the fact that the amateur fights were so even, that form always, as someone said before, the styles make fights. In those amateur fights, Garcia matched up so well with Haney, and the same thing, actually looking back at it now, Haney and that did get caught with punches by that lightning reflex counter punch from Garcia numerous times, and that's obviously what happened here tonight as well. So what else have we got there? We'll get through a few. Dan, great fight. Can't believe Garcia found it so easy to tag Haney. Yeah, well, I was surprised by that too, Dan. Great performance, Garcia, but shocked Haney for the way he did. I was surprised, Dan. Maybe that was a plan from Garcia, is to make Haney stand and fight, which he did early, and he obviously got caught. Garcia, if you look back at the fight, took the outer ring on numerous times and just allowed Haney to come to him, and that's when he countered with those left hooks. And the way Haney obviously holds his guard as well, a little bit of the shell, a little bit of bits and pieces thrown in, but mainly that shell, he is open to the hook if you time it properly, and maybe that's what Ryan Garcia was looking for, to actually get Haney worked up enough to actually go to him and then counter him with a left hook. Who knows? But either way, great performance from Garcia. I was a little bit surprised that Haney was hurt and dropped as sort of easily as he was. I know that's easy to say because Garcia can punch, but I was surprised that Haney fatigued so quickly. He was marked up. He was caught by punches that we haven't seen him hit with before. We all remember George Kambosos really couldn't lay a glove on him. Prograis couldn't lay a glove on him. Lomachenko had his success, but he's a totally different fighter to what Ryan Garcia is. So, but look, maybe Garcia took, and Derek James, of course, took bits and pieces out of all of them. And maybe one thing looking back that Lomachenko did was he threw combinations against Haney. Whether they landed or not, he threw them anyway to get close and then threw the power punches in close. Maybe that's what Garcia took out of it, because he didn't land a lot of punches, but the punches that he did land really had an effect on Garcia, on Haney. So maybe they knew if they landed on Haney, they could hurt him. It was just a matter of landing those punches, and the combination punching might have been the key, which is what Lomachenko did so effectively against Devin Haney last year. All right, Big J, 140-pound division now turned on its head, but can Ryan legit make 40? I think he can, Big J. I think he can make the weight. I don't think he looked drained or drawn or really cut making 143, was it? 143.2. It's a kilo and a half. I think he really, even on the day, he could have made it. I'm staggered he couldn't or even attempt to lose the weight. Because you look at Devin Haney, he looked drawn, really drawn out. But Ryan Garcia actually looked strong on the scale. So I think he could make the weight 100%. And let's not forget he made 136 last year against Gervonta Davis. So Ryan, Dev 3-3 in amateurs. Now Ryan 1-0 in the pros. Well, I call this, what was it, the Game 7. And Ryan Garcia proved that he's the man. Glenn, Garcia has to make 140 to fight the other champs. But can he? Yeah, as I said, mate, I think he can 100%. What's that? Lopez, Garcia won before the fight. Mattia walks through Haney after watching this. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, when you see a fighter like this, who had a little bit of that aura about him, get pretty much demolished by Ryan Garcia. I know it was a majority decision, but the way Garcia really bullied Devin and dropped him and roughed him up, a little bit like, I sort of liken a little bit to when Anthony Joshua got beaten by Andy Ruiz. Joshua had that aura. He was bulldozing guys. And after that, the aura of Anthony Joshua sort of went down a little bit. And I know he's got back on the, back amongst it now, but the aura of him just went from Anthony Joshua, and he's taking him a while to sort of build that back up, and a credit to him, obviously, that he has. But I think after this, I think the likes of Lopez and definitely Matias will look at Haney and say, I think we can beat. It's definitely Gervonta Davis, of course. Whether or not he wants to go to 140 to fight Haney is another thing. But it's amazing when this sort of loss happens, how vulnerable you look, and also or how vulnerable you also look to your opponent. So I think Haney needs to beat Garcia in a rematch decisively, I think, to get his standing back. And I think that's the fight we'll see next. Massive money fight. And, geez, we thought Kambosos Haney 2 was entertaining with the lead-up. Imagine what Garcia and Haney's going to be like. Dan says, definitely if they rematch, it isn't at 140. Clearly those 3+ pounds help Garcia. No, I think, as I said, Dan, I think he can make it. Look, he might say to Devin Haney, look, I don't really care about your belt. Keep your belt, your little green belt. I don't need it. If you want a rematch with me, it's got to be at 143 or even 144, whatever it might be. It's all in Garcia's court this time. You've got to remember, even though Haney has got the belt, Ryan Garcia really is the number one top dog at 140, arguably. I would still have Teofimo Lopez in the equation. Matias, I know a lot of people sort of see him as the main man. He's still got a lot to prove to me, Matias. I know he's had some good wins so far, but he hasn't had a really big win so far. So I'm reserving judgment. Even Liam Paro, we here in Australia think Liam Paro is a good opponent for Matias, but over there, Liam's not really been regarded at the level. So until Matias beats Liam and then backs it up with a win like one of these guys fought today, I don't really put Matias in the equation. And I don't see why a Ryan or a Haney or even a Lopez fight Matias. And of course, unless his belt's on the line, because I just don't see him as that big money fight at the moment. I see Devin, Garcia, definitely Teofimo Lopez in there as well, and maybe Tank Davis. They're obviously the big dogs, and I just don't think they need Matias at this stage. They can make some massive money fighting off against each other. So we'll see what happens, but either way, the 140-pound division, along with the 154-pound division, probably the hottest divisions in boxing at the moment. Karma perhaps for the Loma robbery. Well, that's one way to look at it, Glenn. Who knows? Who knows? I was one that thought Loma won that fight, but it seems to be the way, doesn't it? You might get lucky in one fight and then unlucky in another. Who knows? Who knows? Look, I just thought on the day that Ryan Garcia fought the exact perfect fight that it takes to fight a fighter like Devin Haney. And if I was an opponent of someone like someone that was going to fight maybe even a Shakur Stevenson type, I will be looking at that fight as a template on how to beat guys like Stevenson and Haney, those really slick boxers that are so good with their feet and hands and keeping the range. I thought tonight was a lot like that. And even to look back to the day when Marcos Medina beat Adrian Broner. Remember Adrian Broner, again, that Philly shell, really slick footwork, hands, technique, skill, everything, was thought to be very, very almost unbeatable. I won't say unbeatable. You know where I'm getting at, but the type of fighter. And Medina, you remember that day, really roughed him up, really got in close, really dragged the energy out of him and hit him with really clubbing shots. Didn't try and outscore him, tried to really out-punch him and hurt him. And I think that's what sort of happened today with Garcia. He wasn't trying to outbox him. He was trying to hurt him. And that's sometimes the mistake maybe even George Kambosos made. And look, George is not a big puncher anyway, but he tried to almost outbox the boxer. And against the likes of Haney and Stevenson and Mayweather back in the day, it's almost impossible to outbox those guys, and you have to get in close and rough them up. And really, you remember Medina when he was sort of punching down on him and he just would not allow himself to be tied up. He kept punching in the break, everything he could to keep punching. And I think not that Garcia was as brutal as Medina was against Broner and even Mayweather. I just thought he had the similar style of get the boxer out of his comfort zone. Don't try and punch to outscore. Try and punch to hurt. And I think that's what the secret of today's fight was. Garcia robbed himself from the TKO. Moving ahead, he needs to learn to put his punches together. When he does, he's an animal. Yeah, he's still got flaws, mate. He's definitely, he still has that chin up in the air and good. I think someone like a Teofimo Lopez would do well against Ryan because of just the styles. Maybe Matias the same, but as someone said again before, the styles make fights, and in this case, Ryan Garcia had the exact style to beat Haney. I just like his whole strategies, all his tactics is to, as I said, rough Haney up. Don't try and just score a left hook. Try and knock him out with a left hook. And I think that was a difference today. But look, with Derek James in his corner, mate, and he stays with him, that's the main thing. Don't hop trainers like he has been goody off in the past. Stay with Derek James, and again, he could be the Oscar De La Hoya of our generation. That's the type of appeal that he has. Pretty funny watching the Pro Box TV recap. Atlas, Paulie, and Tim Bradley are so pisses. Okay, I bet they're all backtracking now. They Glenn saying they picked Garcia to win the fight. Luto Paro beats Matias, and then he may get the opportunity to unify against Garcia when Garcia wins a rematch. Well, it's definitely on the cards, Ryan, because when you think about it, Ryan Garcia did comment on Liam Paro's win after the Montana Love fight. So he even said he might be willing to come to Australia. I doubt he would ever come to Australia. I don't think the money's here for him. But so it shows that Liam Paro is on his radar. But at the moment, I would think that Devin Haney would definitely be next. And then, which will probably be later this year, of course. And then I suppose we'll see what happens after that, whether he wants the Matias Paro winner or Teofimo Lopez says he wants to fight. Teofimo Lopez and Ryan Garcia is the fight for me. I think that would be an awesome fight. But he's got to obviously get past Devin Haney if he wants to fight him later in the year and for his belt. Well, that's a decision that Garcia will make. Ryan Garcia is the type of guy when you think about him, I say, no, I don't want a rematch. I don't want your belt. I'll go fight for another belt. I got the win. I'm 4-3 up. So cop that. And he'll allow Devin Haney to live with that for the rest of his life. That's the sort of guy Ryan Garcia is. So, and he's going to make tens of millions of dollars with or without that belt and with or without fighting Devin Haney again. So we'll see. Oh, pissed. Glenn. So they're pissed, are they, Glenn? That's Paulie and Tim and there's a Chris Algieri on there as well. Really good channel, I will say, the Pro Box TV. I think it's one of the best ones out there. Having said that, though, Paulie he's got his favourites. We know Canelo Alvarez is not one of his favourites, and by the sounds of things, Ryan Garcia isn't. But look, I think you've got to give respect where it's due, and that is that Ryan Garcia fought the fight of his life tonight. Devin Haney, full props to him as well. A lot of heart. But at the end of the day, there's got to be a winner, and Ryan Garcia proves so many people wrong, including myself, and I'm sure a lot of you people out there. I thought that Garcia had the potential to make a fight of it. I didn't think he would fight that well, and full credit to him. I've never been the biggest Ryan Garcia fan, but geez, you cannot or you can't not give him all the props for that win. All right, guys, we're pushing 3:30. We've been on here for 3.5 hours, so we might call it a day at that. I hope you've had a good day watching the fights with me and each other out there, guys. I know sometimes it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but it just gives us a chance to discuss what's going on. Again, a reminder that I'll be back on Wednesday night for the Nikita Tszyu card from 7 p.m. We've got one more comment from Glenn. Yeah, it's good. They are seriously losing it right now and bagging the hell out of Haney. Well, of course they would. Last thing I'm going to do is bag Devin Haney. He's a champion. He'll be back. He's 25 years of age. So, yeah, and full credit to him for getting through those 12 rounds because he probably could have turned his toes up at any stage. And after those knockdowns, I don't think anyone would have thought anything less of him. So, yeah, I don't like that, but I will watch it a little bit later today. All right, guys, well, that's it for this live watch-along. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, and look forward to seeing you on Monday night for Talking Boxing, and again on Wednesday for Nikita Tszyu, Danilo Carati on the No Limit pay-per-view. Thanks again, and we'll catch you next time.